Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Bulgarian ebook before it's gone.
Okay, hi everyone! How are you today? I'm your host Daria and this is an episode of BulgarianPod101.com. Maybe one of the most important episodes because it gives you the top 25 Bulgarian phrases that they are. I mean, these are key phrases that you need to start a conversation, to introduce yourself, to say the basic phrases of every language. So if you want to be 25 Bulgarian phrases ahead of the rest of the people who don't know those, grab a pen and a notebook and let's start.
Здравей. Здравей. Hello.
How to start? How should we start? I think there's no better way to start but to say здравей. Zdravei. Hello. Well, hello everyone. Zdravei is like an informal way to say it. You can say здравейте, the formal one. Also plural. Yeah, you can say здравейте to multiple people. And also if you hear that some Bulgarian people say zdrasti, zdrasti, this is the short version of hello. Just hi.
Добро утро. Добро утро. Good morning.
How do you usually start the day? If you see somebody, you would greet them with Добро утро. Добро утро. Good morning. This phrase I love a lot because of the vibration of it. Добро утро. Practice your R's in this phrase. Also, I like to use it because we're one step ahead of our southern neighbors, the Greek people, who don't even have a phrase for good morning. They just start from Kalimera, which is the day. I don't know why nobody celebrates the morning over there. We do.
Добър ден. Добър ден. Good afternoon.
Moving on later in the day. Добър ден. Добър ден. Good afternoon. Now, here's the tricky part because it may be 10 a.m. in the morning, but you can hear a Bulgarian saying добър ден, which literally is good afternoon, but we use it more as good day to you. So remember it, добър ден.
Лека нощ. Лека нощ. Good night.
When you go to bed, you would hear a Bulgarian person wishing you leka noșt. Leka noșt. This is good night. Good night, good night. I remember a song from my childhood. There was a television show just before the little kids would go to bed. And the show was called Leka noșt deța. Good night, children. Deța. And it was about a character named Sâncho. Sâncho, which is like a sleepy boy. Anyway, memories from my childhood. Moving on.
Как се казваш? Как се казваш? What's your name?
Now that you've learned how to greet people according to the part of the day your encounter is happening, how to properly introduce yourself? You can ask them for their name. Как се казваш? Как се казваш? This is pretty much asking what's your name. You can also make it plural or formal by saying те at the end. Как се казва те? What is your name? Formal. And how do we reply to that?
Аз съм Майя. Аз съм Майя. I'm Maya.
Аз съм Дария. Аз съм Дария. Аз съм Дария. This is a way of saying I am Daria. And what do we usually add after that, after we introduce our name?
Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Nice to meet you.
Usually after we say our name, we would add Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Right? It's very simple. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Nice to meet you. Now, you can just use the first part of this phrase, which is приятно ми е. It's nice. That's pretty much enough for Bulgarian. But if you want to sound more like a true Bulgarian, you gotta say приятно ми е да се запознаем.
Как си? Как си? How are you?
Как си? Как си? How are you? This is a classic question you can ask anybody, and it's a door opener, by the way. I've heard it use it quite a lot in the US or other countries. However, please, I beg of you, when you ask как си, really show interest and really mean it. Как си?
Благодаря, добре. А ти? Благодаря, добре. А ти? I'm fine, thanks. And you?
And usually there is the answer. Благодаря, добре. А ти? Благодаря, добре. А ти? Literally, I'm fine, thank you. And how about you? Благодаря, добре. Благодаря, добре. А ти? I'm fine, thanks. And you? Literally, благодаря is thank you, добре is good. Thank you, good. А ти and you. You can juggle with that, or you can say how you really feel. You may be moody, you may be happy, you may be anxious. So you can add whatever you like in that little phrase. Благодаря, добре. Благодаря, не добре.
Моля. Моля. Please.
Моля. Моля. It's a very important word because it shows politeness. It shows good intention. This is the Bulgarian word for please. Please. Also, moля means I beg you, I beg of you. But you can also add it to any sentence if you would like to request something. And we'll see later on how to use моля.
Благодаря. Благодаря. Thank you.
The next word is a very important one because it shows gratitude. Благодаря. Благодаря. One word. It means thank you. But the root of the word is благо, which is all the best things or the nice things. Даря, I'm gifting them to you. Like nice things I'm giving. So you can say благодаря. But also for people who don't feel confident in saying this long word in Bulgarian, it's fine for you to use the French merci, because we've stolen that one in our language.
Пак заповядай. Пак заповядай. You're welcome.
And usually if you say благодаря, you can say right afterwards, пак заповядай. Пак заповядай. You are welcome. And you have the nicest of nicest things in your relationship with the person you have just met. nice base to work on from then on.
Da. Yes.
Here are the two most important words to reply a yes and no question, which are the words yes and no. Da in Bulgarian means yes.
Ne. No.
Ne in Bulgarian means no. But don't confuse it with the type of nodding, because all over the world, this means da and this means ne. But only in Bulgaria, it's vice versa. So this would mean no, and this would mean yes. Not ne, da. Why? I can't even tell you. I can't. Some psychology thing, sociology, I don't know.
Добре. Okay.
Remember the phrase that we've used before? Благодаря, добре. Replying to, how are you feeling today? Good, thank you. Good. This is the word добре. Добре. This means okay in Bulgarian, and it's okay to use it as much as possible, just because of the good vibration of it. Добре, добре.
Извинете. Извинете. Excuse me.
Another of the top 25 Bulgarian phrases that everybody should know is извинете. Извинете. Excuse me. Yes, people should learn how to use this word as much as possible because, first of all, Bulgarian people rarely use it. Why? If they step on your foot or they push you or punch you, do something horrible to you, they would say, Opa. They may even crush your car and they will say, Opa, which literally is oops. They would not say, excuse me, I apologize, and they would just go away. Because we are such people. But really, a lot of people say opa. Opa, which is, I think it's a Greek word as well. Opa. Opa! Opa, hey. Okay.
Съжалявам. Съжалявам. I'm sorry.
Another good word to use is съжалявам. Съжалявам. Now, this means I'm sorry. And I'm sorry, but a lot of people find difficulty pronouncing the... Now I'm having difficulty speaking. Pronouncing the in the beginning, because we have this sound. The Brazilian people would understand perfectly what I'm talking about because they have this sound. But if you don't, stress on съжалявам. Съжалявам. It actually makes your body feel good after you say it. So I'm sorry. Use it as much as you can.
Колко е часът? Колко е часът? What time is it?
So you're walking the streets of Sofia or Plovdiv, and you have a meeting with a local person to show you around. You've agreed to meet at 2 o'clock somewhere, but you don't have a watch. The battery on your phone is dead, so there is no way for you to know is it 2 o'clock already or not. Here is a way to ask for it. Колко е часът? Колко е часът? What's the time? Usually, as an answer, you would get just a number. 2, 2 часа, 3 часа, 4, and it's useful if you know the Bulgarian numbers.
Къде е тоалетната? Къде е тоалетната? Where is the restroom?
Another very useful phrase, which is definitely among the top 25 Bulgarian phrases you should know, is this one. Къде е тоалетната? Къде е Toaletnata. The double O. Okay, where is the restroom? I don't know why I feel saying that learning this will open a lot of doors for you. Hopefully it will open a lot of doors for you and you don't have to wait in front of the restroom. But in Bulgaria, there are a lot of public restrooms around, or you can use any cafe or restaurant for this. And literally, you can just say toilet and they'll understand you because toilet, toaletna. Very similar.
Изчакайте за момент. Изчакайте за момент. Wait a moment.
Here's another phrase. If you hear somebody say изчакайте за момент, изчакайте за момент. They usually mean wait a moment. I hope you don't hear this in front of the restroom door, but in case that happens, you know that you have to wait. Hey, sometimes in life you have to wait for the good things to come and to happen to you.
Колко струва това? Колко струва това? How much is this?
So you've had a wonderful day sightseeing and you've met the local person and then you enter a souvenir shop. But in the souvenir shop there is no price announced. Now, if that happens, you can ask, колко струва това? Колко струва това? How much is this? And again, they'll give you a number as an answer. So it's always handy and good to learn the Bulgarian numbers first.
Помощ. Помощ. Help.
If you need help, ask for it. You can say помощ. Помощ. Help. Yell it as loud as you can. Помощ. Pomost. It's a funny thing that we Bulgarians have been exposed so much to Western movies that almost everybody would know the English version of pomost, which is help. However, you will sound like a true Bulgarian if you learn pomost.
До скоро. До скоро. See you later.
We are almost towards the end. It seems proper that I give you 2 phrases of how to part with people. So bear with me. До скоро. До скоро means see you later.
Довиждане. Довиждане. Goodbye.
Another word would be довиждане. Довиждане. Goodbye. And don't be afraid to use the Italian ciao because it's so short and so easy and everybody uses it. And this is another foreign word that we have stolen and claimed in our Bulgarian language.
Не знам. Не знам. I don't know.
Не знам. Не знам. This is a way of saying I don't know. And in my personal opinion, this phrase can get you out of almost any situation. Whatever they ask you, you just say не знам, and you can add български at the end of that sentence. For example, не знам български. And that will be enough for the people to leave you alone. If you do know Bulgarian, which you do by watching BulgarianPod101.com, you can just say знам. I know български. Bulgarian. Знам български. I know Bulgarian. Great. Seems like we've reached the end of this episode of BulgarianPod101.com, and you now know the top 25 Bulgarian phrases everybody should know. Great! That's amazing. I'm proud of you. And by the way, for more Bulgarian, click subscribe here under this video. Leave me a comment about which of this you would say to a stranger. Or go to BulgarianPod101.com for more lessons in Bulgarian. I'm your host Daria, and I can't wait until I meet you next time. Until then, do skoro! Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of BulgarianPod101.com, the best way to learn Bulgarian language, with your host here, Daria. Today, I'm eager to share with you 10 questions you should know. And why have I picked those? You'll see why. Here is some explanation at the end of every question and sample answer you're gonna get. So if you are ready to start, let's go!
Как се казвате? Как се казвате? What's your name?
Here is the first question. Как се казвате? Как се казвате? What's your name? Great. Pay attention that казвате is actually formal way to say, to ask for somebody's name. Казвате. The informal way and first person of the verb казвам се is казваш. Как се казваш? You can ask this to somebody you feel familiar with. How to reply? Very simple. Казвам се Дария. Казвам се Дария. My name is Daria. Very simple. And you can also say аз съм Дария. I am Daria. Various name. You can even forget the verb part and just reply with your name. As simple as that.
Как сте? Как сте? How are you?
The next question you should know actually logically follows the first one. Как сте? Как сте? How are you? Right after you ask for somebody's name, let's ask how do they feel? Again, with this one, remember that как сте is a formal way to ask a person. Or you can ask multiple persons, multiple people, personas. Okay, great. Как сте turns into как си. This is the informal way of asking how are you? And how do you reply? Here is a sample. Добре съм, благодаря. Добре съм, благодаря. I'm fine, thank you. It's a good thing to add the благодаря at the end. It really gives a hint that you are a human being. I encourage you to use благодаря as often as you can, because in my culture we don't get to use it a lot.
Откъде си? Откъде си? Where are you from?
Great! Now that you have found out what's the person's name and how do they feel, you can ask them. Откъде си? Откъде си? Where are you from? And a possible answer to this could be от София. От София. From Sofia. You can change the location and turn it into Plovdiv, Varna, Russe, Burgas, or whatever town you are from. But this is how you can ask a Bulgarian person. Откъде си? Where are you from?
Кога е рожденият ти ден? Кога е рожденият ти ден? When is your birthday?
Another question I really like to ask people because I'm so interested in astrology that I would like right away to know everybody's zodiac sign. Maybe that makes me a little bit prejudiced, but hey, I bond with some signs and some not, so I have to watch out for those people. So I will ask, кога е рожденият ти ден? Кога е рожденият ти ден? When is your birthday? It's a phrase that needs a little bit of practice because of a lot of the sounds, but you'll get to it very quickly, I am sure. And how do you reply to that? If you don't want to give away your birthday, you can just reply by giving your month of birth. For example, I'm born in February, so I would answer през февруари. През февруари. It's very similar to February. February. Just a little bit of a trick over there in pronunciation, but that means in February. And I indeed was born in February. This makes me an Aquarius.
Къде живееш? Къде живееш? Where do you live?
So, after you've learned the person's birthday, but before you ask them straight for their bank account number, you can ask them this. Къде живееш? Къде живееш? Where do you live? And, of course, they will try to get around the answer. So, you may get an answer like this. Живея с приятели. Живея с приятели. I live with friends. Of course, this means leave me alone and don't ask me any more questions, please. But hey, it's better to live with friends, by the way, than with your family. It shows up that you are taking responsibility for your adult life. So great that you're living with friends.
Къде работиш? Къде работиш? Where do you work?
One of the favorite questions somebody would ask you, of course, because they try, to figure out what social class you belong to or how much money you make. Of course, they would ask you this. Къде работиш? Къде работиш? Where do you work? To which you can, of course, create your own story if you don't like to deal with nosy people. But if you truly would like to answer honestly, tell whatever you work. But here is a way of saying it. В една туристическа агенция. В една туристическа агенция. I think you almost thought of what exactly this means in English, and it means in a travel agency, in a tourist agency. Yes. So if you work, for example, in a bank, you can say в една банка, or if you don't work at all, you can say I am a happy person.
Какъв е телефонният ти номер? Какъв е телефонният ти номер? What's your phone number?
Some people would like to know a lot of things about you, so they may ask you, какъв е телефонният ти номер? Какъв е телефонният ти номер? What's your phone number? Of course, if it's a very important business connection, you would give your phone number to this person that you're talking to. However, if it's just a random person who is trying to interfere in your life, this is how you reply. Предпочитам да не го давам на непознати. Предпочитам да не го давам на непознати. I prefer not giving it to strangers. I think that you would agree with me on this one.
Къде сте учили български език? Къде сте учили български език? Where did you learn Bulgarian?
Great, guys! So, you're in a party with Bulgarian people and you are impressing them with the Bulgarian language you've already learned, so it's natural that somebody should ask you, къде сте учили български език? Къде сте учили български език? Where have you learned Bulgarian? Great, so be prepared for this question. So when this question comes, here's how you answer. На летен лагер в Родопите. На летен лагер в Родопите. My favorite mountain, Родопи. This literally translates as in a summer camp in the Rodopi Mountains. Great! This is a good way to learn Bulgarian right over there. Another good way is to comment on this channel. I learned Bulgarian with BulgarianPod101.com. And if somebody asks you, къде сте учили български? You can say, BulgarianPod101.com, which literally is our name with the S in the front.
Харесвате ли българската кухня? Харесвате ли българската кухня? Do you like Bulgarian food?
And of course, a conversation with a Bulgarian person would not be complete without them asking you about our food. How do you find it? So, a Bulgarian person may ask you, харесвате ли българската кухня? Харесвате ли българската кухня? Do you like Bulgarian food? What do you think the answer should be? Please never tell a Bulgarian person you don't like the Bulgarian cuisine. Even if you don't like it, we take pride in everything that is Bulgarian for some reason. So also this is a very good shortcut to insult a Bulgarian. Tell them you don't like their food. However, for the purposes of making friendship, here is how you should answer the question. Абсолютно обожавам я. Абсолютно обожавам я. Definitely yes. I love it. You love it and they will love you for loving it.
Били ли сте в България? Били ли сте в България? Have you been to Bulgaria?
The next question may come into conversation if you are outside of Bulgaria, somewhere, and you meet Bulgarian people or anybody who would like to ask about our country. So the question would be, били ли сте в България? Били ли сте в Bulgaria? Have you been to Bulgaria? And in case this conversation is not happening in my country, you can reply, Не, никога, но много бих искала. Не, никога, но много бих искала. This means no, never, but I would like to very much. However, pay attention that this phrase, много бих искала, I would like to very much, is only if you are a female saying it. If you are a male saying it, you should say, много бих искал. So there is just one letter difference, but it makes the whole change of gender over there. And so this is the end of today's episode of BulgarianPod101.com. You've learned 10 questions you should know in Bulgarian language. For more, go to BulgarianPod101.com and also subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with the next episode with your host, Daria. I love sharing all kind of facts with you about my country, sometimes with a little bit of humor. I hope you don't mind that, and I will try to do that in the next episode. Until we see one another again, you can leave something in the comment section for me to read. Довиждане и Благодаря. Goodbye and thank you.
Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome to a new episode of Bulgarian Pod101.com. I'm your host Daria, and today I'm going to walk you through 10 phrases you always want to hear. So, are you ready to start complimenting other people? Let's go!
Изглеждаш страхотно днес. Изглеждаш страхотно днес. You look great today.
Now, it's something that I would like to point your attention on. It's the word strachotno, which is literally translated as scary, by the way, because it derives from the word strashno, which is scary. So Bulgarians use it in a way of saying great, but it's funny how it sounds when you think about it. You look scary today. And it sounds such a normal thing to say in Bulgarian, by the way. So use it everywhere you go. You look wonderful today. You look great today. Изглеждаш страхотно днес.
Липсваш ми. Липсваш ми. I miss you.
Yes, this is something either say too rarely or we do say excessively. I do encourage everybody to find a balance in it, and this comes from meaning it from your heart. I am gonna miss you until the next episode. Ще ми липсвате.
Свърши чудесна работа. Свърши чудесна работа. You did a great job.
Yes, I do believe that if somebody hears this phrase more often, they're not only gonna be flattered, but they will improve their work overall. Свърши чудесна работа.
Ще има бонус в края на месеца. Ще има бонус в края на месеца. There'll be a bonus at the end of the month.
Is definitely what everybody would like to hear if they have done a good job. Even if they have not done a good job, it will make them do a better job. Because imagine if you're doing something for many years and you don't receive any kind of appreciation for that. Not even a single small thing. So the bonus is definitely something you should use to make somebody do better work.
Ти готвиш превъзходно. Ти готвиш превъзходно. You're an excellent cook.
Yes, everybody would like to hear that, even though sometimes you may burn the dish, but your friends are there to support you, so they may be saying, oh, as if they're mocking you. Ти си превъзходен готвач. Ти готвиш превъзходно. You are an exceptional cook. Well, the more you burn dishes, I know, the better you become as a cook, so please never stop cooking.
Почини си. Аз ще почистя днес. Почини си. Аз ще почистя днес. Take a break. I'll do the cleaning today.
Opens the heart and the doors to every mother's heart. Guaranteed, proof read and checked and all that.
И вие печелите. И вие печелите. And you win.
I specifically think that if you invest the money you spend on scratch tickets into something else, you are on the winning side of spending your money. For sure.
Ти беше прав. Ти беше прав. You were right.
Why is it so hard to admit something like that? I don't know. Maybe because Bulgarian people, they think they know everything about everything. From science to sport to politics to anything. So please say it even though people are not right.
Нося ти нещо специално. Нося ти нещо Специално. I brought you something special.
It is very intriguing and exciting to hear something like that, isn't it? Unless this special something is a cat. And there you can bid farewell to your living room couch.
Бюджетът е неограничен. Бюджетът е неограничен. The budget is unlimited.
Can you imagine a world where there is no money or there is a budget but it's unlimited? What are the things that everybody can do? Everybody can accomplish their dreams no matter how far-fetched are they. You can even go to the end of the universe if there is such. So, unlimited budget, unlimited dreams. Make it happen. I am leaving you for now because we have come to the end of this episode of BulgarianPod101.com. However, I'm looking forward to our next episode. Until then, please let me know which of these 10 phrases you always want to hear you like the best, or is there anything you would like to hear personally so I can translate it for you? Add it in the comment section below this video, and also find where the red button is, somewhere over here. I forgot where it is. It's a red button that says subscribe. Subscribe for this channel to get more videos like this, and we're gonna see each other again in the next linguistic adventure. Until then, check the website BulgarianPod101.com for more lessons in Bulgarian. I'm your host Daria, and I'll see you very soon.
Hi guys, how is it going? Welcome to another episode of BulgarianPod101.com with me, Daria, your host. Today I have prepared for you something very interesting because the topic of this lesson is 10 phrases you never want to hear. And even though you may not want to hear them, you will have to hear them now in this episode if you would like to learn how to speak a better Bulgarian language. It's not so bad, and most of them are universal. You don't want to hear them anywhere. Even if it's Australia or Burkina Faso, probably. So some of them, I'll give you some more insight about why it's good or not good to hear them in my home country, Bulgaria. So let's go.
Не си ли качила малко килограми напоследък? Не си ли качила малко килограми напоследък? Have you gained weight recently?
One of the worst phrases that nobody wants to hear is this. Не си ли качила малко килограми напоследък? Не си ли качила малко килограми напоследък? Have you gained weight recently? Not a very good thing to hear, especially if you're a woman. That's why the sentence or the phrase has the feminine inclination in it. So, качила. You can also try to say to a guy, не си ли качил малко килограми напоследък? But I think for a guy, that's not the worst thing they never want to hear. Because, guys, we women are a little more touchy about the subject of weight.
Имаш няколко бели косама. Имаш няколко бели косама. You have a gray hair.
Another phrase you may not want to hear, and then again, this is very subjective, and I'll tell you why, is this phrase. Имаш няколко бели косама. Имаш няколко бели косама. You have a gray hair. And pay attention then in the Bulgarian version of the sentence, the color of the hair is white, beli kosama. And then it translates as gray hair in English, which is siv kosam, gray hair. But if you tell somebody, oh, you have white hair, you know, имаш няколко бели косама, I've heard this reply and I love saying it back to people. Oh, it's okay that I have white hair. It's my transitioning into a white swan. So there you go again, subjective. It may be the worst thing you hear. It may be not so bad after all. Moving on to the next phrase.
Нали ти казах? Нали ти казах? I told you so.
The next phrase is Нали ти казах? Нали ти казах? I told you so. Yes, in the egocentric society that we live nowadays, in the 21st century, this is a very common phrase. And of course, everybody likes to say it and nobody likes to hear it. So, it probably helps if you don't speak well Bulgarian that if somebody told you Нали ти казах, it will just pass through your ear and go the other way. But you can use this phrase yourself if you want to tease somebody.
Уволнен си. Уволнен си. You are fired.
Again, a phrase you don't want to hear is уволнен си. Уволнен си. You are fired. Of course, if you love your job, that's the worst thing you want to hear. The last thing you want to hear is уволнен си. However, it may make somebody extremely happy that they're finally fired. Because soon they'll be hired, that's what it's on my mind. When one door closes, another one opens. Such is the blow of the universe.
Причината не е в теб, а в мен. Причината не е в теб, а в мен. It's not you, it's me.
Moving on to the next phrase that you don't want to hear. Причината не е в теб, а в мен. Причината не е в теб, а в мен. It's not you, it's me. What are your associations when you hear this, right? You never trust this sentence because it implies that it's actually you that have the fault. The fault is on you, the guilt. But you don't have to worry about hearing this in Bulgaria because nobody will say it this way. They will directly say, it's your fault. So it's you, it's not me.
Благодарим за вашето резюме. Позицията обаче вече е заета. Благодарим за вашето резюме. Позицията обаче вече е заета. Thank you for your resume. However, the position has been filled.
Let's say that you are looking for a job and you have found that pretty good position. It reflects everything you wanted. The work hours, the location of the job, the pay, everything is perfect and you have applied with your resume, but instead you hear this phrase. Благодарим за вашето резюме. Позицията обаче вече е заета. Благодарим за вашето резюме. Позицията обаче вече е заета. Thank you for your resume. The position, however, has been filled. Yes, that's definitely something you never want to hear if you are applying to your dream job. But then again, when one door closes, another one opens, and maybe there is something better around the corner even than your dream job.
Трябва да се срещаме и с други хора. Трябва да се срещаме и с други хора. We should see other people as well.
The next phrase is something you never want to hear from your partner in life. Трябва да се срещаме и с други хора. Трябва да се срещаме и с други хора. We should see other people as well. Which means that maybe your partner is not into you, or maybe they have changed their philosophy from a monogamous to a polygamous point of view. Hey, no judging here. Everybody's free to say what they want, but in case you are a monogamous type, this is the last thing you want to hear from your partner.
Не мога да ти върна парите днес. Не мога да ти върна парите днес. I don't have your money today.
If you had lent some money to somebody, this is definitely the phrase you don't want to hear from them. Не мога да ти върна парите днес. Не мога да ти върна парите днес. I don't have your money today. It's okay if you hear this phrase for the first time from your friend. Because you know what happens, they may have forgotten or they may be in a difficult situation, so today is not the day. However, if you hear this phrase, не мога да ти върна парите днес, for a fifth time within a couple of months, then you should start worrying. Because this friend may never pay you back, unfortunately. There are people like that, they just never pay back.
Трябва да поговорим за нещо. Трябва да поговорим за нещо. We need to talk.
Next comes a phrase that nobody wants to hear. And when they hear the phrase, people usually are so afraid, paralyzed, and full with anxiety that they try to avoid the following event of the phrase. Here is the phrase. Трябва да поговорим за нещо. Трябва да поговорим за нещо. We need to talk. Now, even though this is a phrase that nobody wants to hear because they're afraid that something bad will be discussed, or this is the end of the relationship, or the school principal will tell the parents something bad about their son or daughter in school, hey, hold on. It's not the end of the world. And it's actually better if we go on and discuss hard problems instead of just avoiding them. So no need to feel anxious or afraid when somebody tells you that. Just go for it and overcome it, like a true warrior.
Извинявай, забравих. Извинявай, забравих. Sorry, I forgot.
The next phrase is not as bad as the other phrases we've covered until now, but still, if it concerns your birthday and it's your best friend or your partner, it's kind of a bummer to hear it. Извинявай, забравих. Извинявай, забравих. Sorry, I forgot. Well, you can always count on your mom, by the way, that you'll never forget anything, especially your birthday. So there you go. You have one person who will never pronounce this. And here comes the end of this week's episode of BulgarianPod101.com. In this episode, we've covered 10 phrases you never want to hear. Maybe some of them are useful, maybe some of them are not. Please let me know what is the phrase that you never want to hear in the comment section below this video. For more episodes like this one, please click subscribe, but also visit BulgarianPod101.com for more lessons in Bulgarian. I am your host Daria, and for me it's a great pleasure to bring you these episodes. I hope you're having fun with me. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!
Hi everyone, this is Daria, your host of BulgarianPod101.com, and welcome to this video of learning Bulgarian with this platform, BulgarianPod101.com. And today, since I'm dreaming about summer and I dressed in so many colors. I would like to give you 10 things to do in the summer in Bulgaria. Are you ready? Get some sunblock and let's go. Summer, summer, summertime.
Пътувам в чужбина. Пътувам в чужбина. To travel abroad.
If you ask a random Bulgarian of how he or she would prefer to spend his or her time in the summer, he or she will probably answer, go abroad. Пътувам в чужбина. To travel abroad. Well, yeah, there's something in our culture that now that we can travel more freely, now that we're in the European Union, we do take advantage of visiting Italy, Greece, and so on and so forth. It's just so easy because it's right there. However, many other people do not travel or have never been outside the frontier, like my grandmother. Моята баба никога не е пътувала в чужбина. Моята баба никога не е пътувала в чужбина. My grandma has never traveled abroad. Which is somewhat true about my grandmother because she constantly watches this travel channel, and if I call her on a random day and ask her, hey grandma, how you doing today? She would reply, hey, I've been to Mexico and Guatemala and Costa Rica this afternoon. How about you? Well, Grandma, this may count, but you don't have magnets from the places you've been. Haha. So, Daria, grandmother, 1-0.
Почивам си на плажа. Почивам си на плажа. To relax at the beach.
Another popular response you might get from a Bulgarian about their free time in the summer would definitely be go to the beach. But not just go, relax on the beach. Почивам си на плажа. To relax at the beach. Here's an example of this phrase in a sentence. Истинската почивка е когато си почивам на плажа. Истинската почивка е когато си почивам на плажа. It's a true holiday when I'm relaxing on the beach. This is true for so many people. And by the way, you can be very sure that you can have a relaxing vacation in Bulgaria because we don't have sharks in the Black Sea. There you go.
Уча български език с bulgarianpod101.com. Уча български език с bulgarianpod101.com. To learn Bulgarian with bulgarianpod101.com.
Another use of your time in the summer is to do something practical and to get a new skill. Improving your skills is something very important, like уча български език с Bulgarian Pod 101, like you're doing right now. Уча български език с Bulgarian Pod 101. To learn Bulgarian with Bulgarian Pod 101. And the next example in a sentence is a tribute to you, the viewers. Можете да научите български език с bulgarianpod101.com. Можете да научите български език с bulgarianpod101.com. You can learn Bulgarian language with bulgarianpod101.com. Yes, it's as simple as that. Just subscribe and keep on watching videos like this. By the way, you're gonna learn a lot of fun facts about Bulgaria in this one. Stay with me.
Уча се да готвя български ястия. Уча се да готвя български ястия. To learn to cook Bulgarian food.
Уча се да готвя български ястия. Уча се да готвя български ястия. To learn to cook Bulgarian food. Oh, definitely this is something very important, especially for my friend who recently got married, and I'm gonna say why. It was very important for her to learn how to cook moussaka, First, let me give you the example with this. Тя иска да се научи да готви български ястия. Тя иска да се научи да готви български ястия. It's a very simple sentence. Here's it in English. She wants to learn how to cook Bulgarian food. Why did she want to do that? Because in Bulgarian culture, we have the saying, if a woman does not know how to cook a proper moussaka, then she is not eligible for marriage yet. So one way to look for a wife, test her cooking skills.
Организирам барбекю. Организирам барбекю. To have a barbecue.
Организирам barbecue. To have barbecue. Yes, you may not be a sophisticated cook as my friend to cook a whole dish of moussaka or kapama, but barbecue is much simpler and it gives you the benefit to be outside, to cook delicious food and to share it with as many friends as you have. So here's an example of how to use this phrase in Bulgarian. В неделя ще организираме барбекю. В неделя ще организираме барбекю. We will organize a barbecue on Sunday. By the way, here's a bonus to this phrase. I'm going to give you the Bulgarian word for barbecue, which is skara. So with skara, every day is a Sunday here in Bulgaria. Welcome. Every day is a skara day.
Купонясвам цяла нощ. Купонясвам цяла нощ. To party all night.
Our next phrase is about partying, because that's one of the best things you can do in the summer in Bulgaria, apparently. You just go to the seaside or in a big city club or something like that and купонясвам цяла нощ. To party all night. Here is how you can use the phrase in Bulgarian. Той купонясва цяла нощ с приятели. Той купонясва цяла нощ с приятели. He partied all night with friends. And I'll tell you who this he is. It's my friend George in the example that fits perfectly for him. Because he once said to me, I may be 70 years old, but I'll never stop partying. He may be either exaggerating or there is a true thread there that he may be a vampire. Forever young, I wanna be a vampire. All right.
Получавам загар. Получавам загар. To get a tan.
So summertime is connected to beach time, and of course, what can you do at the beach? You may think of multiple answers to that question, but if you ask a Bulgarian person, they would say получавам загар, to get a tan. Yes, that's undoubtedly the best, the most favorite thing a Bulgarian person would do at the beach, especially if it's a Bulgarian woman. I have no idea why, but you can recognize a Bulgarian chick at the beach because she would not be swimming, she would not be sandcastle building, and she would not be engaging in sport activities, water activities at all. She would be just lying on the sand, suntanning. Yes, and here's an example how you can use this in a sentence. Той беше на Малдивите през зимата и е получил загар. Той беше на Малдивите през зимата и е получил загар. He was in the Maldives in the winter and he got a tan. Well, good for him. He may not be a Bulgarian woman, but Bulgarian men are also, they also have vanity about the way they look.
Отивам на разходка в планината. Отивам на разходка в планината. To go hiking.
The next phrase I'm going to suggest about things to do in Bulgaria in the summer is my favorite one because I'm a mountain girl and that's where you can find me during the summer. Hiking. Отивам на разходка в планината. To go hiking. Yes, and if you want to use this in a sentence, here's how you can say it. Много хора отиват на разходка в планината през почивните дни. Много хора отиват на разходка в планината през почивните дни. This is how you say that many people go hiking in the mountains during the weekend. Not only during the weekend, but during the summertime, I will tell you which is the most popular hiking road in Bulgaria. It's the Com Emine Trail, which runs from the most western part of Bulgaria, goes straight to the most eastern part, which is Cape Emine. So from Peak Com to Cape Emine. It's about 700 kilometers and it will take you 20 days to walk through it. But it is part of a larger road that goes from the Atlantic Ocean, crosses all Europe and ends at the Black Sea. It's a wonderful experience. And it's also the Bulgarian part of it is known as the Friendship Road. Why? Come to Bulgaria and find out why.
Работя почасова работа. Работя почасова работа. To work a part-time job.
You can also работя почасова работа. To work a part-time job. Of course, you need some kind of money-making activity to support your other activities. It's better if it's a part-time job, not a full-time job, because otherwise you would not have any time for the other activities. Leave aside money. So here's how you can use this почасова работа, part-time job, in a sentence. Много студенти работят почасова работа. Много студенти работят почасова работа. Many students work a part-time job. Even though I am not a student, recording videos for you guys for BulgarianPod101.com is my part-time job. And I'm having so much fun with it. So bear with me because I have some more interesting facts about Bulgaria, the summer, and of course, other phrases to learn about what to do in the summer in Bulgaria.
Забавлявам се с приятели. Забавлявам се с приятели. To have fun with friends.
For the next phrase, you don't need a mountain, you don't need the sea, you don't need a lot of money even, because all you need is not love. All you need is friends. I think this is more true than love, because love comes and goes, but friendship stays forever. I do believe that. And to illustrate this, here is a phrase for you. Забавлявам се с приятели. To have fun with friends. How do you have fun with friends? In this sentence. Тя излезе навън да се забавлява с приятели. Тя излезе навън да се забавлява с приятели. Friends, приятели. She went out to have fun with friends. This phrase sounds like something my mom would say always when she has to reply where I am at the moment, because I'm always out with my friends. I'm a very sociable person, and the best way to spend some friend time is to have a bench party in the park or to climb one of my hometown's hills. We have 6 out of 7 now. Long story. I'm not gonna explain what happened to the 7th one, but just go up and hang around with your friends, watching a wonderful view over the city. That's the best way to hang around with friends. Забавлявам се с приятели. Great! So we have reached the end of this episode of BulgarianPod101.com, and you guys now know 10 more things to do in the summer in Bulgaria. And not only that, but you know how to express them in Bulgarian language. For more of that, please subscribe to this channel and also visit BulgarianPod101.com for more Bulgarian. Also, let me know which of the things I listed so far you like the best, or if I have omitted something that I haven't thought of, please add it in the comment section below this video. My name is Daria and I will be your host next time in our next linguistic adventure. Until then, stay safe and inspired about how to spend your time in the summer in Bulgaria. And please be very welcome to visit me in my country.
Hey guys! How are you doing this week? Welcome back to an episode of BulgarianPod101.com with your host, moi, Daria. Today I will take you to the seaside because the weather is a little bit warmer now, and all you need to know to go to the beach, I could summarize in 20 words you need for the beach. Now, if you're ready to go for some swimming, get your sunblock and let's go learn some interesting facts about the Bulgarian seaside. Shall we?
Слънчеви очила. Sunglasses.
Слънчеви очила. Sunglasses. And here is a phrase for you. Тя си счупи слънчевите очила. Тя си счупи слънчевите очила. She broke her sunglasses. Well, I guess it's not the end of the world because wherever you look at the Bulgarian seaside, you will find sunglasses sold everywhere. They may not be original, but hey, it's an emergency, so I guess €5 per pair of decent sunglasses would do the job, right?
Pláž. Beach.
Another word that you will need for when you go to the beach is the word beach itself. Pláž. Beach. And here is an example of how we can use this word. Хайде да отидем на плажа. Хайде да отидем на плажа. Let's go to the beach. Well, definitely learn that one in case you have some people who like to be lazy and they don't want to catch the early sun rays, which are the best for you, I've heard, because the longer you wait, and if you go to the beach around noon, it gets very bad for your skin, and some things like melanoma can happen. So avoid this and push your friends and family to go to the beach with this phrase. Хайде да отидем на плажа. Come on, chop chop, хайде. Let's go to the next word.
Плувам. Swim.
Плувам. Swim. Плувам. I hope you can swim. Here is the question you can ask your friends if they can swim. Можеш ли да плуваш? Можеш ли да плуваш? It's a very good question, especially if you and your friends decide to rent a boat for the day, and in case somebody cannot swim, you would of course like to know that so that you don't have any emergencies later. So, can you swim? Можеш ли да плуваш? Let's find out.
Слънце. Sun.
The next word that you will need for the beach is one of my favorite words. Not because it's a little bit hard to pronounce, but it's because it's the source of life on this planet Earth. Слънце. Sun. Слънцето се скри зад облака. Слънцето се скри зад облака. The sun disappeared behind the cloud. Hey, believe it or not, the sun wants a break from us human beings too. So It hides behind clouds, which is good for you as well because you are not directly burned when you lie on the beach in your swimsuit and you get a tan. But be very careful because even through clouds, you can burn. A little less, but still.
Palma, palm tree.
Great, so when you are at the beach and the sun is shining very hard, slunce, then it's a good thing to find a palm tree to hide underneath and use the shade of the palm tree. So here's the next word. Palma, palm tree. Here's an example of how you can use this word in a sentence. Палмите не могат да оцелеят през студената зима. Палмите не могат да оцелеят през студената зима. A fact. Palm trees cannot survive during the cold winter. And sometimes in Bulgaria we do have cold winters. What we don't have in Bulgaria usually is palm trees. However, you can see them now. They're very popular at the seaside because some cruel people want to do cruel things to the poor palm trees. However, they get around it by wrapping them in plastic wrap so that they can survive the cold winter. And not only at the seaside, but ask the mayor of my hometown, Plovdiv, that is in the middle of Bulgaria. No sea around it, but hey, we do have palm trees. Palma.
Mida, seashell.
Great. So the next word that you need for the beach, and you need it because you can find many of them on the Bulgarian seaside, is mida, seashell. And here's an example of how you can use this word in a sentence. Детето беше събрало само черни миди. Детето беше събрало само черни миди. The kid has gathered only black seashells, also known as mussels in English. But not to be confused because we have other seashells. Did I have another one here? We also have some of these guys as well. So I guess the preference of the kid for the black seashells.
Бански костюм, swimsuit.
It is a very important word and thing that you need at the beach. So what it is? Banski costume, swimsuit. Here is my swimsuit. Oh, I'm waiting for the time that I'm gonna go to the beach and wear that. So this is a one-piece bathing suit. Banski costume. And here is a sentence of how you can use the word or the phrase in a sentence. Тя си забрави банския костюм. Тя си забрави банския костюм. She forgot her swimsuit. Wow! So, no swimsuit for her. But that's not the end of the world because, as with sunglasses, you can buy various swimsuits at the beach near Bulgaria. Everybody, of course, is pushing to sell those things because they rely that you are going to forget yours. But in case you don't want to spend money because you're already paying for a hotel, you're paying to rent a chair, you're paying for drinks, dinners, and all that, it's not the end of the world. You can go skinny dipping. It's a very common thing to see at the Bulgarian seaside at night.
Лодка, boat.
The next word for the day is lodka, a boat. That's actually a ship, korab. But for the purposes of this example, we're gonna imagine that this is a boat, lodka. And here is an example of how you can use this in a sentence. Те наеха лодка за един ден. Те наеха лодка за един ден. They rented a boat for a day. So, to rent a boat, наемам лодка. One of my favorite activities to do around the seaside.
Спасител, lifeguard.
The next word you're gonna need for the beach is spasito. Lifeguard. It's a very common thing to notice a lifeguard at the beach, and it's very important to have one in case you cannot swim. Не можеш да плуваш. So, here is an example how you can use this word in a sentence. Той премина курс за спасител. Той премина курс за спасител. He passed a course to become a lifeguard. Lifeguard. Spasitel. By the way, here is an interesting fact for you. Remember those series from the 90s? I don't know how old you are, guys, but there was a very, very popular series called Baywatch. Baywatch, it was about lifeguards at the beach, so that's exactly how the show is. The show's name is translated into Bulgarian. Spasiteli na plaža. Lifeguards at the beach. Just a fun fact I wanted to share with you.
Jet. Jet ski.
The next word is jet. Jet ski. This is a very difficult word to learn in Bulgarian, but of course I'm joking, but just pay attention to how it's written. The J corresponds to these two letters, D and J, D and J. So it becomes jet if you want to write it properly. And here I give you an example of how to use jet in a sentence. Той иска да кара jet. Той иска да кара jet. He wants to ride a jet ski. So there is a Bulgarian song that I'm not gonna go into details because it's a long topic and you can research for yourself what chalga music in Bulgarian is. But there is this song that literally translates as ride your jet ski, come on, come on. Карай си джета, дай, дай. And I'm stopping with the song lyrics right now. Thank you.
Плажна кърпа. Beach towel.
Плажна кърпа. Beach towel. Here is my beach towel, and here is a sentence of how you can use плажна кърпа in a sentence. Плажната ми кърпа се нацапа. Плажната ми кърпа се нацапа. My beach towel got dirty. Well, even though it's useful to learn how to say this in Bulgarian, if you say it to your Bulgarian friends, I'm afraid they wouldn't help you with this because this is your own problem. Go and clean your own beach towel. But again, my beach towel got dirty.
Шезлонг. Beach chair.
The next word that you will need at the beach, and especially this is a phrase you will need if you would like to lie down on a шезлонг, a beach chair. How to ask if you can rent a beach chair. Here is how. Може ли да наема един шезлонг? Може ли да наема един шезлонг? Can I rent a beach chair? Usually, almost all of the Bulgarian beaches will be covered with these rental beach chairs, so you don't even need to ask that. You just pick whatever is empty, sit down, and of course, a person will come shortly to get your money. So, but in case you would like to be polite, you can always say, може ли да наема един шезлонг?
Пясъчен замък. Sandcastle.
The next word is one of my favorite things to build at the beach. And this is пясъчен замък, a sandcastle. I love doing those. Even though I'm already a grown-up and I'm not a kid anymore, I let the child in me play when my feet feel the sand and the seawater, and it just happens. Yeah, sometimes we do competitions with our friends, and we create temporary art by the sea. So here's an example of how we can use пясъчен замък in a sentence. Детето строи пясъчен замък с баща си. Детето строи пясъчен замък с баща си. The child is building a sandcastle with his or her father. That's a very nice activity to do with your family, especially with your father. And I hope that one day we'll live in a society when fathers will build castles in the sand with the help of their fathers. And everybody will not feel ashamed to do that regardless of their age. Because it's a wonderful thing to do.
Cocktail. A cocktail.
Okay, so we've spent all day at the beach. And of course, the sun is shining. We get hot, dehydrated. But right over there is a bar. So we go there and we order a cocktail. Cocktail. It's almost the same, but just a little different pronunciation in Bulgarian. Cocktail. And if you're spying on some beautiful woman and you want to comment on the fact that she's ordering herself a cocktail, you can say, Тя си поръча коктейл. Тя си поръча коктейл. She ordered herself a cocktail. Good that she is assuming responsibility for the amount of alcohol she is taking. If somebody else was ordering for her, she has a problem. Great, moving on.
Отпускам се. Relax.
The next word you need to use at the beach is actually a verb. It's a very important one. Отпускам се. To relax. Отпускам се is a very important thing to do at the beach if you would like to have a quality vacation time. If you want to use this in a sentence, you can say Отпусни се и не мисли за нищо. Отпусни се и не мисли за нищо. Relax and stop thinking about anything. If you would like to tell this to your friends, go ahead. But isn't it funny? It's like almost a paradox. Whenever we say this to a person, the last thing they do is relax. But go on and try it. Отпусни се и не мисли за нищо. Отпускам се. I relax.
Нося се. Float.
Another relaxing verb. Нося се. Float. Нося се. Again, with this one, it's very important to relax. Here's why. Обичам да се отпусна и да се нося по водата. Обичам да се отпусна и да се нося по водата. I like relaxing and floating over the water. Great. Everybody can do it. You as well can do it even if you cannot swim. The most important thing, the key to floating, is relaxing. The more you relax, the more you float. Try that next time you are close to a seaside.
Гмуркам се. Dive.
And precisely because it's very important to relax while floating. If you don't do it, you're quickly going to dive. Гмуркам се. Гмуркам се. Dive. Well, I don't encourage you to go there after floating, but to prepare and to dive intentionally. And here is how you can use гмуркам се in a sentence. Можеш бързо да се научиш да се гмуркаш. Можеш бързо да се научиш да се гмуркаш. You can quickly learn how to dive. Of course, it's not a big deal. You just, again, need to relax while you're breathing underwater. Turns like the key to everything is just to relax. Again, what was that in Bulgarian? Отпускам се.
Джапанка. Flip-flop.
The next word I'm gonna teach you is one of my favorite Bulgarian words to pronounce. Japanka. This is japanka, flip-flop. An interesting thing could be a theory that the word in Bulgarian japanka came from Japan because maybe the first flip-flops were imported by Japan, or maybe the material that they were using for the first flip-flops was something Japanese. I don't know how the word japanka came to exist in Bulgarian, but I do love it. And here is how you can use this word, japanka, in a sentence. Джапанките й бяха заровени в пясъка. Джапанките й бяха заровени в пясъка. One will say that this is too bad that her flip-flops were buried under the sand and she cannot find them. But it's better if your flip-flops are under the sand than over the sand, because you know what happens when you put your feet in hot flip-flops.
Слънцезащитен крем. Sunscreen.
Ready for the next word? Here it is. Sunscreen. Sunscreen. This is слънцезащитен крем. Again, слънцезащитен крем. This one is specifically for the face. So here is how you can use this in a sentence. Нека ти сложа малко слънцезащитен крем на лицето. Very easy, right? Нека ти сложа малко слънцезащитен крем на лицето. Let me put a little bit of sunscreen on your face. It's a wonderful phrase to say to your lover or a person you're really attracted to, because, you know, you get close to one another and so on and so forth. However, if your mother says that, let me put some sunscreen on your face, means that you're never gonna get a suntan.
Бански костюм от две части. Bikini.
The next word is something we've learned today already. Бански костюм, a swimsuit. Remember the one that I showed you? However, this one has two parts. There we go. Two parts. 1 and 2. Бански костюм в две части. Or as simple as bikini in English. Sometimes I think the English has better ways of describing so many things, like this one. No, but again, бански костюм в две части. It's simply a bikini. Искам да си купя костюм в две части. Искам да си купя костюм в две части. I want to buy a bikini for myself. This is what you should use as a phrase to tell to anybody of the vendors along the seaside, because there's so many of them. And in case not to get confused with the whole piece, бански костюм, you need to specify that this is swimsuit in two parts. Бански костюм в две части. Also better for the suntan, because it uncovers this area over here. All right! Looks like we have reached the end of this episode of BulgarianPod101.com. And now you are ready to go to the beach and interact with Bulgarian people, knowing 20 words you will need for the beach. One of my favorite words to use on the beach is kitara, guitar. And that's why you've been seeing my guitar here next to me. But there's another thing I love more than my guitar, and that's my ukulele. Because I love a guitar, but the uke is much easier to carry around. When you go to the beach, when you go anywhere with friends, you just need to light up a bonfire and the mood is on with this beach instrument. Thank you for being with Bulgarian Pod 101 this week, 101.com, and I will see you in the next episode. Until then, subscribe, comment, And go to BulgarianPod101.com for more lessons in Bulgarian. I'm Daria, and this is Obicham by Pomorians. The whole song on YouTube. Means that the kid is attracted to the dark side since an early age. Also, they're very delicious. My favorite seafood. Той иска да кара jet. So, that was stupid. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to school. I am your teacher Daria, and this is BulgarianPod101.com. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, first of all, today's topic on BulgarianPod101.com is 10 words and phrases for surviving back to school. And second of all, that's why, because we're going back to school, I have my piggy tails back, ponytail. So, why? Because when I was a school kid, my mom used to send me off to school looking exactly like this. Maybe my hair was shorter. Great. Shall we start with the first word for surviving back to school?
Раница. Backpack.
Раница. Backpack. Раница. Backpack. Well, you can say раницата му е много тежка. Раницата му е много тежка. His backpack is very heavy, which is very common in Bulgarian schools to see a small little school kid with a huge backpack, so heavy, because we have ambitious Bulgarian teachers and they all require a textbook, a notebook, auxiliary materials, this, that, and so many other things. And when you have 6 of these subjects for today, you're basically carrying your home with you. I think the kid should be better with a suitcase, dragging it down, huh?
Съученик. Classmate.
So, guys, if you see 2 kids with 2 big backpacks, they are certainly съученици, classmates. Те са съученици. Те са съученици. They are classmates. These 2 boys, at least they can share the burden of the Bulgarian education system on their backs together. They say if you share it with a friend, it's less, it's half a burden. That's a Bulgarian saying. I don't know if it's applicable in this case, but it just lifts your spirit a little bit that you're not the only one in the world like this.
Домашна работа. Homework.
The next phrase for surviving back to school is, in case you have forgotten, домашна работа. Homework. За утре нямате никаква домашна работа. За утре нямате никаква домашна работа. You have no homework for tomorrow. What phrase is possibly better for a Bulgarian school kid or any school kid to hear from his or her teacher than no homework for tomorrow? Great. So if you are a teacher who is trying to learn Bulgarian with BulgarianPod101.com, I encourage you to use this phrase as much as possible. За утре нямате никаква домашна работа.
Изпит. Exam.
Изпит. Exam. That's an important one. Here is a sentence of how you can use изпит in a sentence. Подготви ли се за изпита? Подготви ли се за изпита? Did you prepare for the exam? Well, guys, there is no better way of stressing out a classmate of yours than to ask them if they have prepared for the exam before the exam. That reminds them that probably they still have something to study on, so will make them nervous. Use this phrase, especially if you're trying to sabotage people. In other occasions, use it after the exam has passed to ask what happened.
Лятна вакансия. Summer break.
So among the 10 words and phrases for surviving back to school, this one is one of my favorite ones. Лятна вакансия. Summer break. Yay! Woohoo! That's the most wonderful time of the year. If you think they're singing a song about Christmas, you are wrong. It was intended to be sung for the summer break of schools. Why? Why? Because this is truly the most wonderful time of the year for a student. And if you're wondering where your schoolmates are going, you can ask them this way. Къде ще ходиш през лятната вакансия? Къде ще ходиш през лятната вакансия? Where will you go for the summer break? Great. Some of the people will say they're going to the seaside, maybe the mountains, maybe summer camp, maybe they're not going to do anything at all. Back in my time, one of the most popular answers a Bulgarian student can give you would be, I'm going to my village, which means that I'm going to spend some time with grandmother and grandfather, who would teach me how to do all kind of village stuff. However, now that the grandparents have moved to the big city, people don't go to the villages as often as we used to. So we would go to a family vacation, sometimes abroad.
Училище. School.
Talking about surviving back to school phrases and words, it feels like I should give you the word for school. Училище. School. And here is an example of how you can use училище into a sentence. Училището е на 5 минути от дома им. Училището е на 5 минути от дома им. The school is 5 minutes away from their home. Lucky them, I would say, because these kids are the ones who will get to sleep in later. Compared to all the rest of the school kids that live further away from the school and will have to wake up earlier. So, good for you, living 5 minutes away only from the school. I used to live an hour away of my school. Boy, what a fun bus ride was that, though.
Кандидатствам. To apply.
So guys, I'm giving you a verb that you can put in the top top 10 words and phrases for surviving back to school. And this verb is кандидатствам, to apply. Yes, because this is going to happen at some point and you have to apply to change the school, to enter a university, and hopefully this is all successful. Here is an example. Той кандидатства и го приеха. Той кандидатства и го приеха. He applied and was accepted. Great, good job. And also, if he didn't apply, he wouldn't have gotten accepted. As simple as that. So please apply for everything in life.
Днес е първият учебен ден. It's the first day of class.
Okay, guys, next I'm gonna give you a very important phrase for surviving back to school. Are you ready? Remember, днес е първият учебен ден. Днес е първият учебен ден. Today it's the first day of class. It's very exciting. Yay! You know what? Actually, it's not very exciting because the more exciting part of the school year, it's the last day of class. Последен учебен ден. The last day of class. Go figure.
Ние сме в един и същи клас. We're in the same class.
So, let's imagine you're back to school and there is a new classmate that you don't know. And he or she is super sweet and super cute and you like to meet them. And all of a sudden you realize that ние сме в един и същи клас. Ние сме в един и същи клас. We are in the same class. Well, that may make things easier for you to get to know one another. Or it can make things very difficult for you and the person you have a crush on. Different people, different ways.
Приключи ли с домашното си? Did you finish your homework?
The next phrase I'm going to give you is actually a question. A question that I have heard my mom repeat so many times. And here it is. Приключи ли с домашното си? Приключи ли с домашното си? Did you finish your homework? I wish that I can tell you I replied with yes, I did, but not always. Actually, if the Bulgarian education system was more like the Finnish educational system, we wouldn't even have the need to ask this question about the homework because in Finland, apparently kids don't have homework and it works so much better for them. But just in case you're in Bulgaria, you can ask, приключи ли с домашното си? Hey, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching so far. It was a great pleasure for me to present this episode of BulgarianPod101.com to you. And also to present you 10 words and phrases for surviving back to school. I had fun. I hope you did too. My name is Daria and I'm gonna see you in the next episode of BulgarianPod101.com. You can subscribe to the channel and see when the next one is coming up. And also please leave me a comment down below saying which was and maybe still is your favorite subject in school. I told you mine was chemistry and biology, but maybe yours is something else. For more Bulgarian lessons, please visit BulgarianPod101.com and stay tuned until we see one another again. Bye! You can hear birds. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Okay. Hey, hey, hey everybody, this is Daria. Welcome to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Here, each lesson will help you learn new words, practice them, and at the end review what you have learned with us. Are you ready? Let's get started with the first one. Незначителен. Insignificant. Незначителен. Незначителен. Insignificant. Незначително количество. Insignificant amount. Незначително количество.
Известен. Famous. Известен. Известен. Famous. Известен актьор. Famous actor. Известен актьор. Кихам. Sneeze. Кихам. Кихам. Sneeze. Жената киха. The woman is sneezing. Жената киха. Небрежен. Casual. Небрежен. Небрежен. Casual. Небрежен стил на обличане. Casual style of dressing. Небрежен стил на обличане. Китара. Guitar. Китара. Китара. Guitar. Шестструнна китара. Six-string guitar. Шестструнна китара. Дишам. Breathe. Дишам. Дишам. Breathe. Дишам дълбоко. Breathe deeply. Дишам дълбоко. Плюя. Spit. Плюя. Плюя. Spit. Не плюйте. No spitting. Не плюйте. Заболекар. Dentist. Заболекар. Заболекар. Dentist. Той е заболекар. He is a dentist. Той е заболекар. Caries. Cavity. Caries. Caries. Cavity. Дълбок caries. Deep cavity. Дълбок caries. Asthma. 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 Инхалатор за астма. Asthma inhaler. Инхалатор за астма. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Respond in Bulgarian, then repeat after me, focusing on the pronunciation. Are you ready? Do you remember how to say insignificant? Незначителен. Незначителен. And how to say famous? Известен. Известен. How about sneeze? Кихам. Кихам. Do you remember how to say casual? Небрежен. Небрежен. Let's try with guitar. Китара. Китара. How about breathe? Дишам. Дишам. Now let's say if you remember the word for spit. Плюя. Плюя. Another one. Do you remember how to say dentist? Заболекар. Заболекар. And how about cavity? Caries. Caries. And finally, do you recall how to say asthma? Asthma. Asthma. That last one was an easy one. Well done, everybody. And see you in the next video. Довиждане. Hi everyone, this is Daria. I welcome you to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson here will help you learn new vocabulary, practice the new words, and at the end take a review of what you have learned. Are you ready? Let's get started. First is Allergia. Allergy. Allergia. Allergia. Allergy. Алергия към полени. Allergy to pollen. Алергия към полени. Бордова карта. Boarding pass. Бордова карта. Бордова карта. Boarding pass. Бордовата карта, моля. Boarding pass, please. Бордовата карта, моля. Образование. Education. Образование. Образование. Education. Образование и обучение. Education and training. Образование и обучение. Английски. English. Английски. Английски. English. Господин Сузуки преподава английски. Mr. Suzuki teaches English. Господин Сузуки преподава английски. Право. Law. Право. Право. Law. Право и ред. Law and order. Право и ред. Флейта. Flute. Флейта. Флейта. Flute. Сребърна флейта. Silver flute. Сребърна флейта. IT отдел. IT department. IT отдел. IT отдел. IT department. Обади се на IT отдела. Call the IT department. Обади се на IT отдела. Командировка. Business trip. Командировка. Командировка. Business trip. Отивам на командировка. Go on a business trip. Отивам на командировка. Маркетинг. Marketing. 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 Работя в областта на маркетинга. I work in marketing. Работя в областта на маркетинга. Популярен. Popular. Популярен. Популярен. Popular. Популярен мъж. Popular man. Популярен мъж. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Then, respond in Bulgarian. Repeat after me, focusing on the pronunciation. Are you ready? Do you remember how to say allergy? Alergia. Alergia. And how about boarding pass? Bordova карта. Bordova карта. What about education? Образование. Образование. Do you remember how to say English? Английский. Английский. Let's try law. Право. Право. And how about flute? Flauta. Flauta. And how about IT department? IT отдел. IT отдел. Do you remember how to say business trip? Командировка. Командировка. Another one. Let's try marketing. 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 And finally, do you remember how to say popular? Популярен. Популярен. Well done so far. I'll see you in the next episode. Довиждане. Oh, hi there. This is Daria, and welcome to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Here, each lesson will help you learn new words, practice them, and at the end review what you have just learned in this lesson. Are you ready to start? Here we go. First word is счетоводство. Accounting. Счетоводство. Счетоводство. Accounting. Счетоводни документи. Accounting documents. Счетоводни документи. Премия. A bonus. Премия. Премия. Bonus. Коледна премия. Christmas bonus. Коледна премия. Лек. Light. Лек. Лек. Light. Леко перо. Light feather. Леко перо. Trombone. 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 Свиря на тромбон. Play the trombone. Свиря на тромбон. Заминаване. Departure. Заминаване. Заминаване. Departure. Дата на заминаване. Departure date. Дата на заминаване. Пристигане. Arrival. Пристигане. Пристигане. Arrival. Вход за пристигане. Arrival gate. Вход за пристигане. Цигулка. Violin. Цигулка. Цигулка. Violin. Свиря на цигулка. Play the violin. Свиря на цигулка. Науки за земята. Earth science. Науки за земята. Науки за земята. Earth science. Изследване на науките за земята. Earth science research. Изследване на науките за земята. Наука. Science. Наука. Наука. Science. Изучаване на наука. Study of science. Изучаване на наука. Рецепта. Prescription. Рецепта. Рецепта. Prescription. Изпълнявам рецепта. Fill a prescription. Изпълнявам рецепта. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Respond in Bulgarian and then repeat after me, trying to focus on pronunciation. Are you ready? Do you remember how to say accounting? Счетоводство. Счетоводство. And how about bonus? Премия. Премия. Do you remember how to say light? Лек. Lek. Another one. Let's try trombone. 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 What about departure? Заминаване. Заминаване. How about arrival? Пристигане. Пристигане. Now, let's see if you remember how to say violin. Цигулка. Цигулка. And do you remember how to say earth science? Науки за земята. Науки за земята. Another one. How about just science? Наука. Наука. And finally, do you remember how to say prescription? Рецепта. Рецепта. Well done, everybody. Keep going. I'll see you in the next video. Довиждане. Hello, everyone. This is Daria, your host, and welcome to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Here, each lesson will help you learn new vocabulary, practice new words, and then review what you have learned with us in this episode. I know you're ready to start, so let's go with the first one. Bagage. Luggage. Bagage. Bagage. Luggage. Пътувам с багаж. Travel with luggage. Пътувам с багаж. Превръзка. Bandage. Превръзка. Превръзка. Bandage. Бинтовам с превръзка. Wrap with bandage. Бинтовам с превръзка. Пациент. Patient. Пациент. Пациент. Patient. Болна пациентка. Sick patient. Болна пациентка. Отдел. Department. Отдел. Отдел. Department. Маркетинг отдел. Marketing department. Маркетинг отдел. Счетоводител. Accountant. Счетоводител. Счетоводител. Accountant. Лицензиран счетоводител. Licensed accountant. Лицензиран счетоводител. Адвокат. Lawyer. Адвокат. Адвокат. Lawyer. Адвокат в съдебна зала. Lawyer in a courtroom. Адвокат в съдебна зала. Заплата. Wage. Заплата. Заплата. Wage. Минимална заплата. Minimum wage. Минимална заплата. Piano. 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 Жената учи момичето да свири на пиано. The woman is teaching the girl to play the piano. Жената учи момичето да свири на пиано. Номер на полет. Flight number. Номер на полет. Номер на полет. Flight number. Номер на полет 345. Flight number 345. Номер на полет 345. Земеделие. Agriculture. Земеделие. Земеделие. Agriculture. Земеделски продукт. Agriculture product. Земеделски продукт. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Respond in Bulgarian, then follow me, focusing on pronunciation. Are you ready? Do you remember how to say luggage? Bagage. Bagage. And how to say bandage? Превръзка. Превръзка. How about patient? Пациент. Пациент. Do you remember how to say department? Отдел. Отдел. Another one. Do you remember how to say accountant? Счетоводител. Счетоводител. How about lawyer? Advokat. Advokat. Another one. Let's try if you remember how to say wage. Заплата. Заплата. And how about piano? Piano. Piano. Do you remember how to say flight number? Номер на полет. Номер на полет. And finally, do you remember how to say agriculture? Земеделие. Земеделие. Well done, everybody. Let's keep going. I'll see you in the other video. Довиждане. Hi, everybody. This is Daria, your host of the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson here will help you learn new vocabulary, practice it, and at the end review what you have just learned with us. I bet you're ready to get going. I am ready too, so let's start with the first word. Infekcja. Infection. Infekcja. Infekcja. Infection. Kożna infekcja. Skin infection. Kożna infekcja. Grip. Flu. Grip. Grip. Flu. Sezonen grip. Seasonal flu. Sezonen grip. Trompet. Trumpet. Trompet. Trompet. Trumpet. Месингов тромпет. Brass trumpet. Месингов тромпет. Изход за заминаване. Departure gate. Изход за заминаване. Изход за заминаване. Departure gate. Кой е нашият изход за заминаване? What is our departure gate? Кой е нашият изход за заминаване? Социология. Sociology. Социология. Социология. Sociology. Изучаване на социологията. Study of sociology. Изучаване на социологията. Стюардеса. Flight attendant. Стюардеса. Стюардеса. Flight attendant. Повикай стюардесата, моля. Call the flight attendant, please. Повикай стюардесата, моля. Място. Seat. Място. Място. Seat. Място в самолет. Airplane seat. Място в самолет. Медицина. Medicine. Медицина. Медицина. Medicine. Област на медицината. Field of medicine. Област на медицината. Икономична класа. Economy class. Икономична класа. Икономична класа. Economy class. Места в икономична класа. economy class seats. Места в икономична класа. Полет. Flight. Полет. Полет. Flight. Бордова карта за полета. Boarding pass for the flight. Бордова карта за полета. Okay, let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Respond in Bulgarian, then repeat after me, focusing on my pronunciation. Are you ready? Do you remember how to say infection? Infekcja. Infekcja. And how about flu? Grip. Grip. What about trumpet? Trompet. Trompet. And do you remember how to say departure gate? Изход за заминаване. Изход за заминаване. Let's try now sociology. Sociologia. Sociologia. Another one. Do you remember how to say flight attendant? Stewardesa. Stewardesa. Now let's see if you remember how to say seat. Miasto. Miasto. And how about medicine? Medicina. Medicina. Another one. Do you remember how to say economy class? Икономична класа. Икономична класа. And finally, let's try to remember how to say flight. Полет. Полет. Well done, everybody. Good job. Keep doing the good work. I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao. Hi, everybody. How is it going? This is Daria, your host for the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Here, each episode will teach you new vocabulary. Practice it, and then at the end, review what you've just learned in this episode. Are you ready to start with the first word? I am. Here it is. Saxophone. 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 Saxophonist. Saxophone player. Saxophonist. Barabani. Drums. Barabani. Barabani. Drums. Свиря на барабани. Play the drums. Свиря на барабани. Harmonica. 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 Свиря на хармоника. Play the harmonica. Свиря на хармоника. Room service. Room service. Room service. Room service. Room service. Ястие от room service. Room service meal. Ястие от room service. Часова бележка. receipt. Касова бележка. Касова бележка. Receipt. Не ми трябва касова бележка. I don't need the receipt. Не ми трябва касова бележка. Безжичен интернет. Wi-Fi. Безжичен интернет. Безжичен интернет. Wi-Fi. Рутер за безжичен интернет. Wi-Fi router. Рутер за безжичен интернет. Кофа за буклук. Trash can. Кофа за буклук. Кофа за буклук. Trash can. Слагам кофата за буклук отвън на бордюра всеки вторник, за да бъде изпразнена. Put the trash can out by the curb every Tuesday to be emptied. Слагам кофата за буклук отвън на бордюра всеки вторник, за да бъде изпразнена. Плик. Envelope. Плик. Плик. Envelope. Запечатвам плика. Seal the envelope. Запечатвам плика. Хартия. Paper. Хартия. Хартия. Paper. Хартия и молив. Paper and pencil. Хартия и молив. Сгодявам се. Engage. Сгодявам се. Сгодявам се. Engage. Ние се сгодихме. We got engaged. Ние се сгодихме. So far, so good, everybody. Now let's review what you have just learned in this lesson. Respond to the following prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Please respond in Bulgarian. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Are you ready to start? Let's go. Do you remember how to say saxophone? Saxophone. Saxophone. And how about the word for drums in Bulgarian? Barabani. Barabani. Let's try a different musical instrument. How about harmonica? Harmonica. Harmonica. That was an easy one. Okay, let's try with room service. Room service. Room service. Here's a more complicated one. Do you remember how to say receipt in Bulgarian? Касова бележка. Касова бележка. Great. And now let's try your memory on Wi-Fi. Безжичен интернет. Безжичен интернет. So far, so good. We're moving on to the next one. Do you remember how to say trash can? Кофа за буклук. Кофа за буклук. Good. Moving on to the next one. Do you remember how to say envelope? Плик. Плик. Here's another one. Try this one. What is the Bulgarian word for paper? Хартия. Хартия. And last one for you guys. Do you recall how to say engage in Bulgarian? Zgodjavam se. Zgodjavam se. That's right. I hope you got it all right. If not, you can review the episode again. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, be well. Довиждане. Hey, welcome back to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series with your host, moi, Daria. I'm so happy to welcome you again in a series where each episode is built specifically for you to learn new vocabulary, practice it, and at the end, review what you have just learned. It's a system that works, so I hope you are buckled up and hold steadfast because we start with the first word. Here it is. Клавиатура. Keyboard. Клавиатура. Клавиатура. Keyboard. Клавиатурата ми е повредена. My keyboard is broken. Клавиатурата ми е повредена. Обрив. Rush. Обрив. Обрив. Rush. Той има обрив. He has a rash. Той има обрив. Гадене. Nausea. Гадене. Гадене. Nausea. Гадене и повръщане. Nausea and vomiting. Гадене и повръщане. Свободни места. Vacancy. Свободни места. Свободни места. Vacancy. Този паркинг няма свободни места. This parking lot has no vacancy. Този паркинг няма свободни места. Тенисна маса. Пинг-понг. Тенисна маса. Тенис на маса. Пинг-понг. Играя тенис на маса. Play ping-pong. Играя тенис на маса. Бягане. Running. Бягане. Бягане. Running. Бягането е чудесно упражнение за подсилване на сърцето и дробовете. Running is a great exercise to strengthen the heart and lungs. Бягането е чудесно упражнение за подсилване на сърцето и дробовете. DVD. 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 DVD player и дистанционно. DVD player and remote control. DVD player и дистанционно. Телче за телбод. Staple. Телче за телбод. Телче за телбод. Staple. Кутия с телчета за телбод. Box of staples. Кутия с телчета за телбод. Tailbot. Stapler. Tailbot. Телбот. Stapler. Върни ми телбота. Return my stapler. Върни ми телбота. Женя се. Marry. Женя се. Женя се. Marry. Искам да се оженя за теб. I want to marry you. Искам да се оженя за теб. So far, so good, everybody. First part of the lesson is checked. Let's move to the review part. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud in Bulgarian. Then repeat after me, focusing on the pronunciation. Are you ready to start? Here we go. Do you remember how to say the Bulgarian word for keyboard? Клавиатура. Клавиатура. And how about the word for rash? Обрив. Обрив. Now, do you recall when you feel a little bit sick, how do you call this in Bulgarian? What is the word for nausea? Гадене. Гадене. And now, do you recall what is the word for vacancy? Свободни места. Свободни места. And if you decide to play with a partner, how would you say in Bulgarian ping pong? Тенисна маса. Тенисна маса. Now let's say you would like to exercise a little bit. What is the word for running? Бягане. Бягане. The next one is a piece of cake. How is DVD in Bulgarian? You got it. DVD. DVD. Great. Do you recall how to say staple? Телче за телбот. Телче за телбот. Let's move to the one that contains it, the instrument that contains it. Do you remember how to say stapler in Bulgarian? Telbot. Telbot. That's right. And here is the last word for today. Marry. How do you say this in Bulgarian if you'd like to propose? Женя се. Женя се. Great job this time around and stay well until the next episode. Keep learning with BulgarianPod101.com. I'm Daria and I'll see you soon. Довиждане! Hi everybody, congratulations for reaching this far. This is Daria. Welcome to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. Here each lesson will help you learn new words, practice and review at the end of each episode what you have just learned with us. So, are you ready to start with the first word? Here it is. Umora. Fatigue. Umora. Умора. Fatigue. Мускулна умора. Muscle fatigue. Мускулна умора. Сърбеж. Itch. Сърбеж. Сърбеж. Itch. Чеша сърбеж. Scratch an itch. Чеша, сърбеж. Възпалено гърло. Sore throat. Възпалено гърло. Възпалено Гърло. Sore throat. Имам възпалено гърло. I have a sore throat. Имам възпалено гърло. Baseball. 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 Играя бейсбол. Play baseball. Играя бейсбол. Хокей на лед. Ice hockey. Хокей на лед. Хокей на лед. Ice hockey. Играя хокей на лед. Play ice hockey. Играя хокей на лед. Каране на ски. Skiing. Каране на ски. Каране на ски. Skiing. Каране на ски, стил cross country. Cross country skiing. Каране на ски, стил cross country. Кламер. Paper clip. Кламер. Кламер. Paper clip. Кутия с кламери. Box of paper clips. Кутия с кламери. CD. 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 Поръчах ново CD. I ordered a new CD. Поръчах ново CD. Купувам. Buy. Купувам. Купувам. Buy. Двойката купува дрехи. The couple is buying clothes. Двойката купува дрехи. Мадрид. Madrid. Мадрид. Мадрид. Madrid. Мадрид е столицата и най-големият град в Испания. Madrid is the capital city and largest city of Spain. Мадрид е столицата и най-голям град в Испания. So far, so good, everybody. Buckle up. Here comes the review. Respond to the following prompts by speaking aloud. First, you will hear a word or a phrase in English. Try to respond by speaking in Bulgarian, then repeat after me, focusing on my pronunciation. Are you ready to start? Here we go. Do you remember what is the Bulgarian word for fatigue? Umora. Umora. And do you recall the word for itch? Сърбеж. Сърбеж. Here's the next one. What is the Bulgarian word for sore throat? Възпалено гърло. Възпалено гърло. The next one is a very easy one. What is the Bulgarian equivalent of baseball? Baseball. Baseball. Great. Next, we have a different sport. Do you remember how to say in Bulgarian ice hockey? Хокей на лед. Хокей на лед. And how about the word for skiing? Каране на ски. Каране на ски. Now, the next one is asking you to remember the word for a paper clip. Klammer. Klammer. The next one is a really difficult one. Do you remember how to say in Bulgarian CD? CD. Of course, CD. Now the next one is a verb. And if you recall how to say the word in Bulgarian for buy, you will get Kupuvam. That's right. Kupuvam. And the final one for today is the capital of Spain. Do you recall how to say that in Bulgarian? What is the word for Madrid? Madrid. Madrid. And with this last one, we wrap up today's session, and I will see you in the next episode. Keep learning with BulgarianPod101.com. I'm Daria. See you later. Довиждане. Hello, hello! How is everybody? Welcome back to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series with your host, Daria. Here in this series, each episode will help you learn new words, then practice them, and at the end of the episode, have a chance to review what you have just learned. Are you ready to start with the first word? Because I am. Here it is. Hrema. Runny nose. Hrema. Hrema. Runny nose. Бебето има хрема. The baby has a runny nose. Бебето има хрема. Замаян. Dizzy. Замаян. Замаян. Dizzy. Жената е замаяна. The woman is dizzy. Жената е замаяна. Запушен нос. Stuffy nose. Запушен нос. Запушен нос. Stuffy nose. Лекарство за запушен нос. Medicine for a stuffy nose. Лекарство за запушен нос. Volleyball. 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 Отборите играят волейбол. The teams are playing volleyball. Отборите играят волейбол. Golf. 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 Мъжът играе голф. The man is playing golf. Мъжът играе golf. Box. Boxing. Box. Box. Boxing. Мъжът практикува уменията си по бокс. The man is practicing his boxing skills. Мъжът упражнява уменията си по бокс. Пътувам. Travel. Пътувам. Пътувам. Travel. След като завърша, ще пътувам около света за 1 година. After I graduate, I will travel the world for 1 year. След като завърша, ще пътувам около света за 1 година. Завършвам. Graduate. Завършвам. Завършвам. graduate. След като завърша, ще пътувам около света за една година. After I graduate, I will travel the world for 1 year. След като завърша, ще пътувам около света за една година. Премествам се. Move. Премествам се. Премествам се. Move. Току-що се преместих в Токио. I've just moved to Tokyo. Току-що се преместих в Токио. New Delhi. New Delhi. New Delhi. New Delhi. New Delhi. Отивам до Ню Делхи. Go to New Delhi. Отивам до New Delhi. Great job so far, guys. We're moving to the review section. Are you ready to start? You will hear some prompts. Please respond by speaking aloud. First, you will hear the prompts in English. It will be a word or a phrase. Try to respond in Bulgarian, then repeat after me, focusing on your pronunciation. Everything clear? Here we go, let's start. Alright, do you remember how to say in Bulgarian, runny nose? Hrema. Hrema. Okay, so far so good. What is the word for dizzy? Zamayan. Zamayan. And how do you call it when you have a stuffy nose? Запушен нос. Запушен нос. The next one is an easy one. What do you say in Bulgarian if you play volleyball? Volleyball. Volleyball. Another one. How is the Bulgarian word for golf? You're right, it's golf. Golf. Now, do you remember how to say boxing? Box. Box. And here is another one. What is the verb travel in Bulgarian? Пътувам. Пътувам. Do you recall how to say graduate? Завършвам. Завършвам. Great job so far. 2 more down. How to pronounce and how to say the word for move. Премествам се. Премествам се. And the last one for today is the city of New Delhi. New Delhi. New Delhi. Great, guys, you got another episode down. Keep learning with BulgarianPod101.com to improve your Bulgarian skills. I am your host, Daria, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, довиждане! Hello again and welcome to the 2000 Core Bulgarian Words and Phrases video series. This is a series created with the intention of each episode teaching you new vocabulary and then giving you the chance to practice and review at the end what you have learned. I am very excited for you. My name is Daria and let's get started with the next episode. The first word is foyer. Lobby. Foyer. Foyer. Lobby. Фоайе на хотел. Hotel lobby. Фоайе на хотел. Услуга за събуждане. Wake up service. Услуга за събуждане. Услуга за събуждане. Wake up service. Използвах услугата за събуждане да ми звъннат в 6 часа сутринта. I used the wake-up service to call me at 6 o'clock a.m. Използвах услугата за събуждане да ми звъннат в 6 часа сутринта. Suite. Suit. Suite. Suite. Suit. Хотелски суит. Hotel suite. Хотелски суит. Колоездене. Cycling. Колоездене. Колоездене. Cycling. Състезание по колоездене. Cycling race. Състезание по колоездене. Автомобилно състезание. Auto racing. Автомобилно състезание. Автомобилно състезание. Auto racing. Състезателната кола се състезава на пистата за автомобилни състезания. The racing car is racing on the auto racing track. Състезателната кола се състезава на пистата за автомобилни състезания. Тиксо. Scotch tape. Тиксо. Тиксо. Scotch tape. Тиксото е идеално за опаковане на подаръци. Scotch tape is perfect for wrapping presents. Тиксото е идеално за опаковане на подаръци. Роден съм. Be born. Роден съм. Роден съм. Be born. Родена съм през 1980. I was born in 1980. Родена съм през 1980. Получавам работа. Get a job. Получавам работа. Получавам работа. Get a job. Брат ми най-накрая получи работа. My brother finally got a job. Брат ми най-накрая получи работа. Умирам. Die. Умирам. Умирам. Die. Умирам от болест. Die of an illness. Умирам от болест. Токио. 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 Токио е столицата на японската нация. Tokyo is the capital city of the nation of Japan. Токио е столицата на японската нация. Great job, guys! Let's move to the review section. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. You will hear a word or a phrase in English. try to respond in Bulgarian and listen to me, concentrating on pronunciation. Are we ready? Here we go. Do you remember what was the Bulgarian word for lobby? Foyer. Foyer. And how would you say wake-up service? Услуга за събуждане. Услуга за събуждане. And do you remember how to say suit? Sweet. Sweet. Very well. Let's try a different one. How about cycling? Колоездене. Колоездене. The next one is auto racing. How is that in Bulgarian? Автомобилно състезание. Автомобилно състезание. Great. Let's try to remember the word for scotch tape. What is it? Tixo. Tixo. Correct. And do you remember how to say be born? Роден съм. Роден съм. Very good. And now let's test your memory on the phrase get a job. Получавам работа. Получавам работа. Great. Do you remember how to say die in Bulgarian? Умирам. Умирам. And last but not least, the capital of the Japanese nation. How do you pronounce Tokyo in Bulgarian? That's Tokyo. Tokyo. Great, that was an easy one. More to follow in the next episode. Keep learning with BulgarianPod101.com. I'm Daria. Довиждане.
Welcome to BulgarianPod101.com's Български в 3 минути, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Bulgarian. Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Приятно ми е. Hi, I'm Eva. Nice to meet you. In this series, we're going to learn basic Bulgarian expressions. It's super easy and it only takes 3 minutes. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to introduce yourself in Bulgarian. But first, it's important to clarify that in Bulgarian, there is a difference between the formal and the informal language. Let's first see how Bulgarian people introduce themselves in an informal situation. Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Hi, I'm Eva. Nice to meet you. Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Start by saying Здрасти, аз се казвам. Then say your name. Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Finally say приятно ми е да се запознаем. Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. And now let's see the same sentence in formal speech. Здравейте, аз се казвам Ива Георгиева. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Hello, I'm Eva Georgieva. Nice to meet you. Здравейте, аз се казвам Ива Георгиева. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. So, what has changed from the previous introduction? Let's take a close look at these together. Здрасти has been substituted with the formal greeting Здравейте, formal Bulgarian for hello. Аз се казвам Ива has not been changed. Аз се казвам stands in both cases for I am or my name is.
However, during a formal self-introduction, we also say our last name. So I said Eva Georgieva. Here, you would say your full name. Finally, the ending remains the same. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. It is a universal Bulgarian greeting, meaning nice to meet you. One more time. The informal way to introduce yourself in Bulgarian is Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. The formal way to introduce yourself is Здравейте, аз се казвам Ива Георгиева. Приятно ми е да се запознаем. Now it's time for Eva's insights. When you introduce yourself, it's a good habit to shake hands in Bulgaria. And if you're not sure whether to use Здрасти or Здравейте, just say simply Добър ден, which means hello and is used during the daytime. In the last lesson, we learned how to introduce ourselves in Bulgarian. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use good manners as we thank people. Готови ли сте? Are you ready? Да започваме! So let's start. There are several ways to thank someone. Let's start with the easiest. It's just one word. Благодаря. Благодаря. Благодаря means thank you. When saying thank you very much, you just need to add много. Много благодаря. Много благодаря. Много means a lot. So много благодаря is like saying thank you very much. During the last lesson, we mentioned both the informal and the formal way of speaking Bulgarian. Благодаря is the most common way to thank someone. If you want to be more casual, there is another word you should use, and you will be amazed which word that is. Merci. Merci. Merci is a loan word from French, but it is pronounced with the typical Bulgarian hard R. R. It is used mainly in informal situations. Merci. How do you answer? It's easy. There are basically two different ways to do it. The first is няма защо. Няма защо. Няма защо literally means there is no reason, but it is the equivalent of don't mention it. The other way to say you're welcome is the word моля. Моля. Literally, this word means I beg or please, but it has become a common way to respond to someone thanking you. So when someone says благодаря to you, we can simply reply with няма защо or моля. Now it's time for Eva's insights. If you're not sure about whether to use merci or благодаря, keeping it simple is always your safest bet. You don't have to worry about formal or informal situations. Благодаря can be used with just about anyone, anywhere, and at any time. In the last lesson, we learned how to show gratitude to people by saying благодаря. In this lesson, we'll learn some of the most common greetings used in Bulgaria. Готови ли сте? Are you ready? Да започваме! So let's start. The most used informal greeting is Здрасти. Здрасти. Здрасти means hi or hello. We should only use this greeting with friends or relatives. There is one more word, which is an informal way to say hello. Здравей. It has the same meaning as здрасти and is used when we speak only with one person. Здравей. And now let's continue with the formal way to greet people. The most general version is Добър ден. Добър ден. Literally, Добър ден means good day. So as a rule, we can use Добър ден only during the daytime, from morning until evening. During the evening, we say Добър вечер. Добър вечер. Вечер is Bulgarian for evening, so Добър вечер means good evening. During the morning, we say Dobro utro. Dobro utro. Utro is Bulgarian for morning. Dobro utro, Dobar den, and Dobar večer are used when we meet someone, but when we leave, we use another word. In this formal situation, Bulgarian people use Довиждане. Довиждане. Довиждане means goodbye. Finally, in Bulgarian, we have an expression meaning see you soon that can be considered both formal and informal. До скоро. До скоро. Now you can greet people in many different ways in Bulgarian. Let's review them all again. When meeting in an informal situation, Zdrasti or Zdravей for one person. When meeting older people or someone we don't know in the different times of the day, Dobro utro, Dobar den, Dobar večer. When living in a formal situation, Довиждане. When living no matter whether it is a formal or informal situation, До скоро. It's easy, isn't it? Now it's time for Eva's insights. Remember merci from the last lesson. Bulgarian uses a lot of words borrowed from other languages, and we also have one for goodbye. Ciao! Just like Italian, this is actually the phrase you will hear the most in Bulgaria. Friends often say it to each other when leaving. Try to say it to your Bulgarian friends. Ciao! In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Bulgarian. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English? If you find yourself in a situation where you need assistance in English, this phrase can be a lifesaver. And because you're asking it in Bulgarian, you can be sure that everyone will understand what you're saying, even if their answer is no. Here's the informal way to say it. Говориш ли английски? Говориш ли английски? In Bulgarian, verbs change depending on the formality and also depending on the subject. This word is the informal form of the verb говоря, which means to speak, and it is conjugated for the second person singular. The next word is the particle li, which is used in many Bulgarian questions. Just remember that it means something like weather. And you probably recognize английски to be English. Говорите ли английски? To learn how to properly conjugate verbs like говоря, please look at our Absolute Beginner series on BulgarianPod101.com. You can find very detailed grammar lessons and resources there. We are now going to make this sentence formal. First, we need to use the formal version of speak, which is говорите. Everything else stays the same. Говорите ли английски? Говорите ли английски? Adding извинете, excuse me, the sentence becomes even more polite. Извинете, говорите ли английски? Извинете, говорите ли английски? The responses you will receive could be one of these three. Да, yes. Да. Малко, a little. Малко. Не говоря английски. No, I don't speak English. Не говоря английски. Since the last one is a negative statement, we need to say не before the verb говоря and не in the beginning of the whole sentence. Notice also that the verb говоря is slightly different than говорите. Remember, the verb changes depending on the formality and the subject. We are now talking about us, Bulgarian for I. Thus, I do not speak is аз не говоря. Now it's time for Eva's insights. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Bulgarian people study other European languages at school, so maybe you will get lucky. Just substitute angliski with Ruski for Russian, Nemski for German, Italianski for Italian, Ispanski for Spanish. In this lesson, we mentioned the expression izvinete. But did you know that this could also be used as an apology? In the next lesson, we will learn this and other ways to apologize in Bulgarian.
Want to get cheat sheets, audiobooks, lessons, apps, and much more every month for free? Just click the link in the description to get your free language gifts of the month.
Здрасти, аз се казвам Ива. Hi everybody, I'm Eva. Welcome to BulgarianPod101.com's Български в 3 минути. The fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Bulgarian. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase Извинете, говорите ли английски? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word извинете, which means excuse me in formal Bulgarian. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to use извинете and other words when apologizing in Bulgarian. We should use извинете in formal situations, such as when we are ordering something in bars or restaurants. For example, извинете, едно кафе моля. Excuse me, a coffee please. We can also use it when asking a question. Извинете, къде се намира храм Александър Невски? Excuse me, where is the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral? Sometimes we also hear people say, ако обичате, which means the same thing when you want to draw someone's attention. We only use this phrase in formal speech. Ако обичате. The informal way to say excuse me is извинявай. Извинявай. Just like извинете, we can use извинявай when asking a question or when apologizing. We can also use the word прощавай. Прощавай. You might hear this phrase translated as forgive me in English, but it's not formal or strong at all. Bulgarian people use it in very casual situations. Its formal version in second person plural is прощавайте. All of these phrases can be used for either excuse me or I'm sorry. But if you really want to apologize for something, it might be better to use a different phrase. That phrase is съжалявам. It means I'm sorry and can be used in both formal and informal situations. съжалявам. This verb is in the first person singular form, so it basically means I'm sorry. You can use this expression anytime you wish to apologize. Now it's time for Eva's insights. Please remember that in Bulgaria, if you accidentally bump into someone, we don't say I'm sorry, съжалявам. Instead we say извинете, excuse me, or прощавайте, forgive me. In the last lesson, we learned some words used when apologizing in Bulgarian, including извинете and съжалявам. In this lesson, we are going to learn numbers in Bulgarian. Yes, numbers. Числата. From 1 to 10. And you're going to learn them in only 3 minutes. 3 минути. Are you ready? Let's start. Едно. Едно. Две. Две. Три. Три. Четири. Четири. Пет. Пет. Шест. Шест. Седем. Седем. Осем. Осем. Девет. Девет. Десет. Десет. Okay, now repeat after me. I will say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. Едно. Две. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job! What is before едно? Do you know? It's similar to one of the versions of zero in English, but with a different pronunciation. Нула. Нула. You don't have any more excuses. You can give your friends your phone number in Bulgarian. Let's try it together. We'll use the phrase Моят номер е, which means my number is. Моят номер е. Моят номер е 037 122 4968. Can you read it by yourself? 037 122 4968. Perfect! Now it's time for Eva's insights. When we go to the bank in Bulgaria, we sometimes have to stand in line with a number. When it's your turn to go to the window, they call out номер едно, номер две, and so on. Learn your numbers well so you can be ready. In the last lesson, we learned the numbers from 1 to 10. Have you forgotten? Here, I'll tell you again. Едно, две, три, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now let's continue from 11. Единадесет, единадесет, дванадесет, дванадесет, тринадесет, тринадесет, четиринадесет, четиринадесет, петнадесет, петнадесет, шестнадесет, шестнадесет, седемнадесет, седемнадесет, осемнадесет, осемнадесет, деветнадесет, деветнадесет. And finally we have двадесет, двадесет. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. Единадесет, дванадесет, тринадесет, четиринадесет, петнадесет, шестнадесет, седемнадесет, осемнадесет, деветнадесет, двадесет. These numbers may seem harder to remember, but you really just have to remember that each one ends in deset, which means 10, as you already know. Let's not stop at 20. Counting to 100 is super easy. Now I'll give you the tens. Тридесет, тридесет, четиридесет, четиридесет, петдесет, петдесет, шестдесет, шестдесет, седемдесет, седемдесет, осемдесет, осемдесет, деветдесет, деветдесет, сто, сто. While you have to memorize a few of these numbers, there are a couple of tricks that will make memorizing them incredibly easy. Notice that the numbers from 13 to 19 start with the numbers from 3 to 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Do you remember them from our previous lesson? Then after them, we add the word na and then 10. So altogether 13 is 3 plus na plus 10, 10, or 13, 13. And the numbers from 20 to 100 are even easier. Again, we form them by simply adding the word for 10, 10. So 40 means 410. Just the intonation changes from simply saying 4 and then 10. 40. 40. 12 and 20 are also similar. We don't say the basic number 2, dve, but dva, which is its masculine form. So 12 is 12. 12. And 20 is 20. 20. The same thing happens to the number 11. Instead of the symbol number 1, edno, we say the masculine form edin, and we have edinadeset. Edinadeset. Finally, we have the number 100. Sto. Sto. It's an easy one, isn't it? How would you say 56 in Bulgarian? Let's take it step by step. 50 is 50, and then add 6, 6. 56. Just add one e, which means and it's done. Isn't that easy? Let's make another number, for instance, 98. Take 90, 90, and add 8, 8, and don't forget the e, 98. And now it's time for Eva's insights. One last tricky part. In spoken language, Bulgarian people add ise or dese instead of 10, 10, when they pronounce the numbers from 11 to 90, like edinaise or 80, which are 11 and 80. It's easier to pronounce them this way, but the formal and written language require the full form. So after only 2 lessons, you are now able to count to 100 in Bulgarian. In the next lesson, we are going to put your number knowledge to use. Do you have all the skills you need to go shopping in Bulgaria? If not, I'll be waiting for you in our next Bulgarski в 3 минути lesson. До скоро! In the last lesson, we learned how to count in Bulgarian. I hope you spent some time practicing the numbers because they will come in handy in this lesson. We're going to learn how to go shopping in Bulgaria. Before we go, you need to know how to say, how much is this? Колко струва това? Колко струва това? Are you ready to go shopping in Bulgaria? Let's go! You see something you like and want to ask the shop clerk how much it costs. The first thing to say to a shop clerk is, Извинете. Do you remember what that means? Excuse me. Извинете, колко струва? Excuse me, how much is this? Извинете, колко струва? If we want to be more specific when asking how much is this and refer to a certain type of object, we first need to drop the word for this in Bulgarian. Also, we need to know if the object is a masculine, feminine, or neuter object. If it is masculine, add този when referring to it, тази for a feminine object, and това for a neuter one. And then say the noun. For example, pants is a masculine. Панталон. Извинете, колко струва този панталон? Excuse me, how much are these pants? Извинете, колко струва този панталон? And skirt is a feminine noun. Пола. Извинете, колко струва тази пула? Excuse me, how much is this skirt? Извинете, колко струва тази пула? And bicycle is a neuter noun. Колело. Извинете, колко струва това колело? Excuse me, how much is this bicycle? Извинете, колко струва това колело? At this point, the shop clerk can answer by saying струва, това е, or just the price plus the word е, which simply means is. For example, струва 21 лева. Това е 21 лева. Or 21 лева е. What number is 21? I'm not telling you. Okay. It's 21. It costs 21 leva. Now it's time for Eva's insights. A quicker way to ask how much is колко е, which literally means how much. For example, when you want to order a coffee, you can ask the waiter, едно кафе моля, колко е? One coffee please, how much is it? At this point, can you count the Bulgarian currency leva? We are going to learn how to do this and much more in the next lesson. I'll be waiting for you in our next Bulgarski в 3 минути lesson. До скоро!
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Bulgarian listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
Жена пита за нещо продавач в книжарница. Коя книга иска да види жената? Извинете, искам да погледна една книга на онзи рафт.
Коя книга искате да видите?
Тази за коли.
Един момент, моля. Тази ли?
Да, точно тази.
Заповядайте.
Коя книга иска да види жената? Жена пита за нещо продавач в книжарница. Коя книга иска да види жената? Извинете, искам да погледна една книга на онзи рафт.
Коя книга искате да видите?
Тази за коли.
Един момент, моля. Тази ли?
Да, точно тази.
Заповядайте.
Мъж и жена разглеждат меню в ресторант. Какво ще поръча мъжът?
Какво ще си поръчаш?
Пицата изглежда вкусно. Мисля, че ще мина с нея.
Аз ядох пица вчера, така че...
Добре тогава. Какво ще кажеш за хамбургер?
Звучи добре. Ще го взема.
Какво ще поръча мъжът? Мъж и жена разглеждат меню в ресторант. Какво ще поръча мъжът?
Какво ще си поръчаш?
Пицата изглежда вкусно. Мисля, че ще мина с нея.
Аз ядох пица вчера, така че...
Добре тогава. Какво ще кажеш за хамбургер?
Звучи добре. Ще го взема.
Мъж се обажда на лекарски кабинет. По кое време той трябва да е в лекарския кабинет? Добър ден! С какво мога да ви помогна?
Кога приключвате работното време днес?
Затваряме в 6 часа, но моля, елате преди 5:30.
Добре, благодаря.
По кое време той трябва да е в лекарския кабинет? Мъж се обажда на лекарски кабинет. По кое време той трябва да е в лекарския кабинет? Добър ден! С какво мога да ви помогна?
Кога приключвате работното време днес?
Затваряме в 6 часа, но моля, елате преди 5:30.
Добре, благодаря.
Момче чете дневника си. Кое е първото нещо, което момчето е направило днес?
Днес времето беше чудесно. Отидох да плувам в басейна след обеда. И отидох на кино вечерта. Освен това, учих цяла сутрин. Днес не беше лош ден.
Кое е първото нещо, което момчето е направило днес? Момче чете дневника си. Кое е първото нещо, което момчето е направило днес?
Днес времето беше чудесно. Отидох да плувам в басейна след обеда. И отидох на кино вечерта. Освен това, учих цяла сутрин. Днес не беше лош ден.
Мъж и жена гледат снимка. Коя снимка гледат те? Това е снимка на футболния отбор, в който играе синът ти, нали? Кой е синът ти?
Ето този.
О, той е най-висок от всички.
Да, той е дори по-висок от мен.
Коя снимка гледат те? Мъж и жена гледат снимка. Коя снимка гледат те? Това е снимка на футболния отбор, в който играе синът ти, нали? Кой е синът ти?
Ето този.
О, той е най-висок от всички.
Да, той е дори по-висок от мен.
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time.
Want to get cheat sheets, audiobooks, lessons, apps, and much more every month for free? Just click the link in the description to get your free language gifts of the month.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Bulgarian listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
Мъж и жена си говорят. Кога ще отидат да гледат филм те?
Какво ще кажеш да ходим на кино идната събота?
Добре, с удоволствие. Но аз имам почасова работа сутринта.
Кога ще свършиш почасовата работа?
Ще свърша в 2 часа.
Тогава нека да се срещнем в кафенето в 3 часа и да гледаме филма в 4 часа.
Добре. Кога ще отидат да гледат филм те? Мъж и жена си говорят. Кога ще отидат да гледат филм те?
Какво ще кажеш да ходим на кино идната събота?
Добре, с удоволствие. Но аз имам почасова работа сутринта.
Кога ще свършиш почасовата работа?
Ще свърша в 2 часа.
Тогава нека да се срещнем в кафенето в 3 часа и да гледаме филма в 4 часа.
Добре. Мъж говори с продавачка. Коя риза ще купи той?
Коя риза според вас стои по-добре? Бялата или синята?
Ами, аз мисля, че синята стои добре. Върви добре с сивото високо.
Така ли мислите? Но не върви много на червената ми вратовръзка, нали?
Ами, да, наистина.
Добре, тогава ще взема бялата, не синята.
Коя риза ще купи той? Мъж говори с продавачка. Коя риза ще купи той?
Коя риза според вас стои по-добре? Бялата или синята?
Ами, аз мисля, че синята стои добре. Върви добре с сивото високо.
Така ли мислите? Но не върви много на червената ми вратовръзка, нали?
Ами, да, наистина.
Добре, тогава ще взема бялата, не синята.
Мъж е в ресторант за бързо хранене. Кое готово меню ще поръча той?
Извинете, може ли специалното хамбургер меню?
Да, моля изберете пържени картофи или салата.
Салата, моля.
Окей, моля изберете вашата напитка.
Кока-кола, моля.
Кое готово меню ще поръча той? Мъж е в ресторант за бързо хранене. Кое готово меню ще поръча той?
Извинете, може ли специалното хамбургер меню?
Да, моля изберете пържени картофи или салата.
Салата, моля.
Окей, моля изберете вашата напитка.
Кока-кола, моля.
Учителка по готварство приготвя торта. Какво е сложила в тортата тя? Днес ще направим торта. Първо смесете маслото и захарта. След това добавете 2 яйца и разбъркайте всичко добре. Прибавете брашно и разбъркайте леко. Сложете сместа във фурна и печете в продължение на 50 минути. Това е всичко. Какво е сложила в тортата тя? Учителка по готварство приготвя торта. Какво е сложила в тортата тя? Днес ще направим торта. Първо смесете маслото и захарта. След това добавете 2 яйца и разбъркайте всичко добре. Прибавете брашно и разбъркайте леко. Сложете сместа във фурна и печете в продължение на 50 минути. Това е всичко. Мъж и жена си говорят. Какво първо ще направят те?
Какво искаш да правим днес?
Искам да отида на кино.
Добре, аз искам да гледам бейсболен матч по телевизията.
Аз искам и да отида на пазар.
Бейсболният матч започва в 1 следобед.
Добре, Тогава нека първо да ходим на кино, а след това ти можеш да гледаш бейсболния матч.
Добре, тогава ще отидем на пазар вечерта.
Какво първо ще направят те? Мъж и жена си говорят. Какво първо ще направят те?
Какво искаш да правим днес?
Искам да отида на кино.
Добре, аз искам да гледам бейсболен матч по телевизията.
Аз искам и да отида на пазар.
Бейсболният матч започва в 1 следобед.
Добре, тогава нека първо да ходим на кино, а след това ти можеш да гледаш бейсболния матч.
Добре, тогава ще отидем на пазар вечерта.
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time.
Want to learn Bulgarian anywhere, anytime? Get the Innovative Language 101 app for free.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Bulgarian listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
Учител и ученик разговарят. Кога ще отиде ученика в кабинета на учителя? Наистина не разбрах съвсем всичко в клас днес.
Няма проблем. Имаш ли някакви въпроси?
Да, имам доста. Имате ли време сега?
В момента съм малко зает. Моля, ела в кабинета ми след обед. Аз ще бъда там от 1 до 4 часа.
Добре, ще бъда там в 2 часа. Кога ще отиде ученика в кабинета на учителя? Учител и ученик разговарят. Кога ще отиде ученика в кабинета на учителя? Наистина не разбрах съвсем всичко в клас днес.
Няма проблем. Имаш ли някакви въпроси?
Да, имам доста. Имате ли време сега?
В момента съм малко зает. Моля, ела в кабинета ми след обед. Аз ще бъда там от 1 до 4 часа.
Добре, ще бъда там в 2 часа. Една жена обядва в ресторант. Какво ще си поръча тя?
Желаете ли кафе или десерт след основното ядене?
Какъв десерт предлагате?
Имаме пудинг и ябълков пай.
Всъщност искам само кафе, моля.
Желаете ли захар и мляко?
Донесете го с мляко, моля. Какво ще си поръча тя? Една жена обядва в ресторант. Какво ще си поръча тя?
Желаете ли кафе или десерт след основното ядене?
Какъв десерт предлагате?
Имаме пудинг и ябълков пай.
Всъщност искам само кафе, моля.
Желаете ли захар и мляко?
Донесете го с мляко, моля. Една жена изчаква мъж. Къде ще чака жената?
Здравей! Съжалявам, но ще дойда с 30 минути по-късно.
Окей, ще те чакам в кафенето.
Кафене? Къде се намира?
Точно до книжарницата. Срещу него има пекарна.
Добре.
Къде ще чака жената? Една жена изчаква мъж. Къде ще чака жената?
Здравей! Съжалявам, но ще дойда с 30 минути по-късно.
Окей, ще те чакам в кафенето.
Кафене? Къде се намира?
Точно до книжарницата. Срещу него има пекарна.
Добре.
Мъж и жена разговарят. Какво ще прави жената през лятната почивка?
Планира ли вече лятната си почивка?
Не още. Мисля, че бих отишла на море или на планина.
Аз ще ходя на море с приятели. Ще караме сърф.
Много добре.
Защо не дойдеш с нас?
Ще бъде забавно. Да, ще дойда с вас. Какво ще прави жената през лятната почивка? Мъж и жена разговарят. Какво ще прави жената през лятната почивка?
Планира ли вече лятната си почивка?
Не още. Мисля, че бих отишла на море или на планина.
Аз ще ходя на море с приятели. Ще караме сърф.
Много добре.
Защо не дойдеш с нас?
Ще бъде забавно. Да, ще дойда с вас. Мъж и жена разговарят. Какво е закусвала жената тази сутрин? Гладна съм.
Закусвала ли си?
Да, но взех само нещо малко.
Какво яде?
Кисело мляко и кафе.
Това е твърде малко. Трябва да вземаш малко хляб и някакъв плод също.
Какво е закусвала жената тази сутрин? Мъж и жена разговарят. Какво е закусвала жената тази сутрин? Гладна съм.
Закусвала ли си?
Да, но взех само нещо малко.
Какво яде?
Кисело мляко и кафе.
Това е твърде малко. Трябва да вземаш малко хляб и някакъв плод също.
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time.
Want to speak real Bulgarian from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at BulgarianPod101.com.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella. How are your Bulgarian listening skills? In this video, you'll have a chance to test them out with a quiz. First, you'll see an image and hear a question. Next comes a short dialogue. Listen carefully and see if you can answer correctly. We'll show you the answer at the end. Are you ready?
Жена се намира в универсален магазин. На кой етаж ще отиде тя? Извинете, къде са детските дрехи?
Те са на 5 и 6 етаж.
А дали имате също така бебешки дрехи?
Да, имаме много бебешки дрехи на 6 етаж.
Благодаря много. Ще отида да потърся там. На кой етаж ще отиде тя? Жена се намира в универсален магазин. На кой етаж ще отиде тя? Извинете, къде са детските дрехи?
Те са на 5 и 6 етаж.
А дали имате също така бебешки дрехи?
Да, имаме много бебешки дрехи на 6 етаж.
Благодаря много. Ще отида да потърся там. Мъж и жена разговарят. На колко години е мъжът сега? Вашият рожден ден е съвсем скоро.
Да, пада се в други ден.
На колко години ще станете?
Ще навърша 60 години.
Поздравления! Нека да го отпразнуваме.
Благодаря много. Ще съм признателен.
На колко години е мъжът сега? Мъж и жена разговарят. На колко години е мъжът сега? Вашият рожден ден е съвсем скоро.
Да, пада се в други ден.
На колко години ще станете?
Ще навърша 60 години.
Поздравления! Нека да го отпразнуваме.
Благодаря много. Ще съм признателен.
Жена разглежда дрехи в бутик. Какво ще купи тя? Синята и бялата пола. Харесва ми двете.
Да, бялата пола се продава добре.
Синята е малко скъпа.
Да, но ви подхожда.
Не мога да си ги позволя и двете. Ще купя бялата.
Добре, благодаря ви много.
Какво ще купи тя? Жена разглежда дрехи в бутик. Какво ще купи тя? Синята и бялата пола. Харесва ми двете.
Да, бялата пола се продава добре.
Синята е малко скъпа.
Да, но ви подхожда.
Не мога да си ги позволя и двете. Ще купя бялата.
Добре, благодаря ви много.
Мъж и жена разговарят. Колко души общо ще дойдат на партито?
Събирането ще се състои утре.
Кой ще дойде на партито?
Ние двама мои приятели и преподавателя.
Това ще направи общо 5.
Учителят ще дойде с съпругата си.
Добре. Колко души общо ще дойдат на партито? Мъж и жена разговарят. Колко души общо ще дойдат на партито?
Събирането ще се състои утре.
Кой ще дойде на партито?
Ние двама мои приятели и преподавателя.
Това ще направи общо 5.
Учителят ще дойде с съпругата си.
Добре. Жена е купила едно легло. Къде ще го постави тя?
Това легло е голямо.
Да, не мога да го поставя до вратата.
Нека го сложим в края на стаята.
Дали да не го сложим по средата?
Не, нека да го сложим в ъгъла.
Окей, звучи добре. Можеш ли да ми помогнеш да го преместя? Къде ще го постави тя? Жена е купила едно легло. Къде ще го постави тя?
Това легло е голямо.
Да, не мога да го поставя до вратата.
Нека го сложим в края на стаята.
Дали да не го сложим по средата?
Не, нека да го сложим в ъгъла.
Окей, звучи добре. Можеш ли да ми помогнеш да го преместя?
Did you get it right? I hope you learned something from this quiz. Let us know if you have any questions. See you next time. Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Bulgarian ebook before it's gone.